Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a very small, insignificant little law firm in central Minnesota. And with me today is a very special guest, Mr. Null, or Josh. I don't know. I still can't decide what to call you.
You only call me Null on the forum. Off the site, it's easier just to say it's Null is not a pleasant word to say. It sounds like some kind of disease.
Yeah,
Uh,
or like on I don't know if you ever watched 30 Rock or whatever. But
no, I was born in 1992. I have never seen 30 Rock.
Okay, it's not that old. But no, one of the show ideas that they were doing for the network was the rural juror, and that's how I feel about saying null. Okay.
Yeah, it's very unpleasant.
That was a long way to go for that joke. Or wasn't even a joke. It was more. Never mind. Anyway, so Null is with me. God, dang it, Josh is with me today to talk about. There are a couple. What? My Hangouts camera just froze up. I mean, apparently you can probably tell. Hold on, let me see if I can fix that. Everything is broken.
Are we doing prop comedy? Your webcam is more of an accessory, not something required.
I don't.
If it doesn't work, don't worry about it. I'll manage. I'll watch the stream, the replay of the stream.
Well, it's not for you.
Oh, it doesn't work for the
Why
stream.
did it? Okay. It just decided my webcam didn't exist. That's great. Hold on. What the hell is happening?
Did you unplug the USB port?
No, I didn't. That's the amazing thing. It just stopped. Hold on. I've got it. This is gonna drive me crazy. Hold on.
Just take a static picture of yourself and put it on the on the OBS.
Well, I've got my logo, right? But my logo's there. Hold on. I'm gonna. God, son of a. Where's my? Okay.
It's for the fans, says Nate. I'll read the chat while you're boomering around. I will I'll entertain the chat. Somebody said Native Log said it's for the fans. All these people, they don't come here for your insightful legalese. They come here specifically to see you and your shining face as a beacon of hope amongst the unwashed masses.
You realize I didn't hear any of that because I was.
Oh no, that was specifically the point. I said I'll entertain the chat as you're boomering around. So I've been talking to the chat. Your input on this is unnecessary.
I'm actually infuriated right now. My webcam just shut off. Hold on, let me see if I can get it this way.
How you doing? They say. I see many people asking about my current emotional status, and I'm pleased to say that I'm doing quite well, actually. Coming from a small insignificant law firm, talking to a small and insignificant forum host. It's very apropos.
Just two innocuous bros.
two motes, two specks floating about.
I don't know what to do. I feel like I've been hacked. What the?
Does the light come on when you plug it in?
It turned off now, but that's actually to be expected. Let me restart this Hangout call. It won't do anything to the stream.
Okay,
I'll send you.
Can close your browser and reopen it. Would be my suggestion.
Yeah, I'll send you a new link in just a second. Sorry. Okay, so just a second, guys. We're having technical difficulty down here on the show. How ridiculous! What? Oh my gosh! Hold on. What a disaster. What a disaster. Good Lord. Oh my goodness. So we do have some interesting things going on today. I don't know Guys, I really don't know what is happening. I was so proud of myself. So proud that I would be on time. That I would be able to get this show going on time, under budget, whatever that is. Why am I getting phone call in the middle of a show? What is happening here? What did okay. Let's see. No, this not... Oh, wait a minute. Leave. I'm gonna figure this out. Aha! All right. Well, I didn't have to leave the call or send you a new one. I'm still here. Are you with me, buddy?
I told you just to reopen it.
Yeah, it doesn't work. I think my computer needs a restart, and we're not going to do that. So this is going to be a weird Battle of the Avatars live stream. I hate to do this. I really do. But I can't fix it without, like, canceling.
You know why? I know why. You fucking, like, combed your hair, put gel in it and something.
I did not. I absolutely did no such thing. How dare you?
I don't believe you. You look, you're too much of a pretty boy not to comb your hair and add gel.
There's no gel in my hair today, actually. So just so you know. All right, so we're gonna have to. We'll just have to do this way. I apologize.
The old-fashioned way. I need some kind of big-brained avatar that's like, wow, this guy is a towering intellectual.
Right.
He has. I'm just a cow. I don't have that clout. It's not something. It's not like a character somebody designed for me or anything. It's just I stole this off of Shaky Graves' album because
I'm just you know, I'm just a guy. I'm just letters. I'm letters and scales. You're at least a cow, right?
Well, I mean, you're representing your law firm. It's only fair.
I guess. This is so weird. I don't know what to do. I did unplug it and replug it. Guys, I know I'm a boomer, but come on.
your device may, because it did like just freeze. It might actually be the device is broken, because I mean you've only used it for 1,000 hours at this point, judging by how many streams you do now. But
no, this is the new one that I got. Well, and it's not super new. I mean, I'm gonna try it again. Plug it, replug it in. Okay, go.
The main issue with doing a restart, because a lot of people are demanding it, is that you're going to get a different YouTube URL if you terminate the stream.
Yeah, everything, it becomes a massive pain to do a restart.
Yeah, that's the main issue.
Trying a different USB port. Looks like nothing's
Oh my god, he did it, the madman.
There we go. A different USB port. We're let me fix this a little bit here.
Oh yeah, that would do it, because it's gonna think it's a new plug and play.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that little fun fiasco is now over. See, there's no gel. Still. Anyway. All right. So where were we? I don't even know. We are going to be talking about a couple different things. The idea of this show was sort of a roundup of what has happened over the weekend with the Vic Mignogna stuff, and there's some overlap with that and the Kiwi Farms. And,
yeah, I didn't even realize this, because this, like, just, you know, it's one of those things where you wake up and one of my admins has sent me a link to something stupid, and I look at it, I'm like, okay, this is stupid and also funny, and then I realized it was in the Weebor board. I'm like, why is it there? This is just a lunatic. Why is it? What does this have to do with the anime people? And then I realized, oh, we know about him specifically because I believe he is a staunch white knight and fanboy of Monica Real, and also has served as her bodyguard, like physical bodyguard at some point in time, and that's
Monica?
why.
Monica?
Is
What?
she not, is she not a melanin? Is
No,
this
no, it's just
so? It's Monica.
it's
Okay,
Monica.
my bad.
A melanin.
I just assumed. I just assumed because it's a Dragon Ball Z thing. I assumed it's Monica, but no,
No,
I will
no,
Monica.
Monica
Okay.
Real. And yeah, this guy. So should I tell you the story of how it came to be? I guess because this is all very recent.
Of how this person landed in my inbox. Sure, I'm very curious. Enlighten me.
Okay. The short story of it is that so in this Vic case, right, made a big push to get Vic to this certain convention he had been invited to and then uninvited from, which is called KamehaCon. It was in Dallas. It was just in April that this convention happened, and I found out that there was actually a contract between Vic and KamehaCon, and so I know. Wait a minute, you can't typically just say, nah, peace, we're not going to do the contract that was signed. And I found out that there was a legitimate signed contract that had occurred. And so, found out about it, started pushing for KamehaCon to bring him back, made it pretty clear that not bringing him back would be a breach of contract, that they might not have known that would be an actual breach of contract. And
this is in regards to a studio in Vic, right?
No, a convention, like a fan get together. So
okay, and Vic.
Yeah, and Vic Mignogna.
Okay.
So yeah, these voice actors don't make a ton of money on their studio work.
Right. People were talking about that in the Puerto Rico thing that just happened. I was following that because I knew we have quite a few Puerto Rican users on the forum, and I've talked to some.
You have men.
We have people in every state in a lot of different countries who will go out of their way to like photograph people. We had multiple people go to the courthouse near Russell Greer to pull documents on him before they got entered online. I've had people drive 3 hours in South Carolina to I swear to God, to dig through the archives of a pre-digital courthouse looking for Brianna Wu's name change. There has been work put into this. So I knew that a Puerto Rican was going, and whenever I know that somebody's doing something in real life, I keep tabs on it because if they embarrass me, I'm gonna yell at them. So nothing bad happened, thankfully. And Vic Mignogna had a good time at this Puerto Rican Comic-Con, which is very nice.
That's what I heard.
I learned that these voice actors, they make a lot of money selling their signatures, a lot of money doing photographs, and not so much money doing voice acting talent.
Yeah, very meager salaries specifically for anime. If it's American animation, they make quite a bit more. Quite a bit more per show. Rate is something like 5 times higher or more if you do an American animation. But yeah, so found out about it, started encouraging the convention to invite him back, started talking about the people who had gotten in the way and how that was tortious interference and all that stuff. So he goes to KamehaCon, and the people who definitely didn't threaten KamehaCon with the threat that if Vic comes, we won't come, shockingly decided not to come once he showed up. They definitely didn't do that, according to them. But then when he gets announced, they unannounce themselves and announce that they're hosting a competing or like a private signing event in the area. About 25
in Puerto Rico.
No, Dallas.
Oh, okay.
This is back in April in Dallas.
Okay.
So
what utter scumbags to poach a Puerto Rican Comic-Con.
So one of the things that they said, that Monica specifically said, was she feared for her safety at this giant convention that was staffing off-duty Dallas PD
Yeah, no
as
kidding. There's no safer place in the world than a Texas Comic-Con staffed by police officers and stuff. Everybody
right.
there, you got enough guns in that place. He's probably right next door to a gun con. You're safe.
Exactly. Yeah, that's probably just down the hall. You can get whatever firearms you need to protect anybody.
Exactly.
But so they're concerned with safety. So then they go away from the giant public venue full of police to a small comic shop in the suburbs of Dallas in Frisco. A small comic shop that was bustling with Yu-Gi-Oh and other tournaments that day, and they hired private security. And so then, some people went and took some pictures of the event to see how many people were there and stuff like that. And of course, it turns out that your boy shows up in those pictures, and the logical conclusion is that this guy is the private security.
Because he's in Texas. He's in the area.
Yeah, and not only that, he's an expert in all sorts of
he's
defense.
like a level 6 black belt and like a Hokkaido. I'm not even gonna bother trying to pronounce that one correct. But yeah, he touts that he lived in Korea for like a decade and studied Hokkaido or whatever there.
Doesn't matter, because I believe it's 0. But we could just keep going with it. But anyway. Sorry. Yes, go on.
So what was the conclusion of this? Was it just a terrible failure? This other signing?
Oh, I mean, it was destined to be a failure. First of all, it's 25 miles away from the event in Dallas. So you're looking at 30 to 60 minute Uber ride depending on traffic.
Oh, fuck.
So you
in Dallas, yeah, you're not going to do that.
And Dallas traffic sucks if you've never driven it. It's
I mean,
god
I imagine
awful.
it's hot as hell there too. It's like, okay, are we going to take the 60-minute car ride through traffic, or are we going to stay in this nice air conditioned convention where there's ice cream?
Yeah, and so you're looking at taking, you pay all this money for your convention ticket, and you're looking at dropping like, I don't know, $60 round trip in an Uber, plus losing several hours of time at the convention to go visit Monica.
Yeah, time that you could spend having fun. I mean, the only thing that's weird is that somebody asked, "What is Hokkaido?" I don't know. It's not Hokkaido. It's like an H sound. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Is it Hapkido?
Yes.
It's
that's
like the
Hapkido,
the Korean version of Aikido, which is and it involves like more limb breaks, I guess, is what I know about it. But that's probably a very slapdash description. Don't at me on it.
I'm just thinking, okay, so they go to a card place and they set up shop there to compete, I guess, directly with this big Comic-Con, and it's like the only people that are gonna walk up or is gonna be like Yu-Gi-Oh players who are gonna pay money just for that interaction with a real woman who has somehow landed inside their card shop. And it's like, well, I guess I gotta take advantage of this.
Don't say landed. That might imply that the card shop is now a crater. But I guess, do fat jokes still play? I never know.
No, that was fine. You did okay.
But no, so we got the numbers on it. She serviced about 90 fans. Of course, part of her agreement, it appears, was splitting off from Kamehacon because she actually had a non-compete in her contract. She wasn't allowed to do this without Kamehakon's permission, and Kamehacon apparently did endorse it. However, she offered anyone with a Kamehacon ticket a free autograph as opposed to making them spend the requisite like $40 or whatever. So that's even funnier.
$40.
Well, that's even funnier because then, she would have, if she had stayed at the convention, anybody who came up to her, she'd get like the full $40.
Yeah.
But instead,
I mean, she screwed her. I mean, I was gonna say that before. The only people who really suffered as a result of this is the moral guardians of the convention who have decided to stifle themselves of their own income. Like, why would you do that?
Exactly. It's just it was terribly it lacked foresight terribly. No idea, of course, how many were free fans versus how many people actually paid, or like how many Pokemon nerds turned around and paid to see the real Bulma in person. But there's that. So then it comes out that it's this guy is her security. It's the only guy that makes sense, because if you read the room, believe it or not, this is the most intimidating looking guy in the room, which is saying something.
The thing is that at face value, he has some clout. Like, he looks like somebody who could possibly be in this, and I don't fully understand right now exactly how much of it is bullshit. But I will tell you what brought this guy specifically to my attention beyond
Yes.
just the bullshit legal stuff, and I'll get to that. But somebody in chat was telling me, I know this guy because 20 years ago, like in early 2000, I was taking, martial art lessons, and it was like a thing that they did at my summer school, and my camp counselor read off printed forum pages about this guy and the stuff he was saying and writing on this website. And the camp counselor was specifically using him as an example of how not to carry yourself once you have any kind of proficiency in martial arts, because it's embarrassing and pathetic. And like 20 years later, this person's on the Kiwi Farms was like, I know this guy. My camp counselor warned me about him 2 decades ago, and he has reincarnated in the current year to continue being an embarrassing dumbass.
yes, that's I think I read I'm the person contacted you, but I think they also at least one person, probably them, posted a very similar thing when he was originally when they originally found out who it was. It was like, oh my god. And then they have his posts, they're available on the farms. Those like 20-year-old forum posts, I think
Yeah,
people found them.
people dug into it, and they found he's managed to scrub a lot of it, and he brags about it. And there is an archive of him bragging about this, because he's very dumb. And I'll
No,
just read.
he's military intelligence. How dare you suggest that this is the man has intelligence in his title, Josh?
What's weird is that he claims he's U.S. Air Force. At the same time, he claims he lived in Korea for 10 years. At the same time, he claims to be a part of the German military. And like, because there are nerds, and they're talking about the beret in the main picture. He's wearing a one of those, you know, martial arts like jacket things that they wear, and it's got the Korean flag and then also the German flag. So he's claiming some weird cross section of all these different things, and I maybe it's possible,
Now I
but
can I can give a sympathetic opinion on the Korea stuff at least. My father-in-law was career Air Force and did
Mhm.
spend a significant amount of time deployed in Korea. So if we're being deferential to his story, it is possible to be both in the U.S. Air Force and stationed in South Korea for a significant amount of time. I'm not saying that he
I
was.
think that's what's happened, because I wouldn't say on principle that he's lying about being U.S. Air Force, because, and I don't think it's untrue that he is in South Korea or has been, because he has a an Asian wife.
Oh, does
I
he?
don't. Yes, he does. We found that picture. So I think what happened is that he was in the chair force, as they call it. All the other branches like to bully the Air Force and make fun of them, and
Oh, of
give them
course.
wedgies and call them the chair force. So I think he was a part of the chair force, and he would sit there in Korea, and the pilots would send back data to the headquarters, and his job as intelligence was to take that information and make sense of it. He wasn't like, there's a video that I have pinned on the front page of the forum that contains like multiple digital renderings of samurais fighting with katanas, and then also special forces in the middle of what looks like Afghanistan. Both of them are fake, the computer renderings. but it's like there's no way that he was deployed in like Kazakhstan doing special ops sniper stuff. Like that would imply it's very likely that he was in a very comfortable air conditioned room with on a military base with a locked door and 24/7 security.
Wait a minute. Are you trying to tell me that there's not like a massive amount of elite Air Force murder factories running around? Like that?
The elite Air Force murder factories, from what I understand, are stationed on naval aircraft carriers and are a part of the Navy.
Yeah.
The Air Force guys, they're just looking at shit, which is whatever. You get your pension, you get your 20-year pension, all the same. I can't blame them.
Yeah, that's the weird thing is typically, I mean, I'm sure there is, there's going to be some combat trained Air Force units of, that just makes some sense, but the amount of them and the idea that this guy's one of them and that he's simultaneously a giant idiot.
Your audience is significantly populated by people who very much know combat and martial arts and also the military. I just want to point this out because I have to be very careful with my wording because I'm getting eaten alive by chat who actually knows this stuff and is very quick to correct me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta watch out. There's a lot of people in the chat and there is expertise in all sorts of places, like the farms, right? Like the farms.
Exactly. We're also Air Force intelligence. They send us stuff and we look at it, and that's how I make ends meet. It's a complicated system. It's a putting out system.
I've got to say something about the farms, and this comes direct from Mr. Ty Beard.
Oh, okay.
Ty Beard has a statement about the farms because so I told him about this guy, right? And I told him about how he created a farms account to, I guess, engage in discussion, and I told him about what you're going to talk about in a little bit too, and he said, "Why does anybody do this?" Like. And he said specifically, I would rather go to battle with ISIS than go up against the Kiwi farms.
Why?
Because
See, we have never sawed off anybody's head yet.
No, but it's not the comparison in like the level of interaction. It's that with ISIS, you have a clear objective, right? Like you just want to destroy the enemy or whatever, and they have a clear objective to destroy you. The farms is indifferent to you as a person. They just want to laugh. So it's like they're just watching the world burn. And it makes them
see. I don't like the watch the world burn thing because it reminds me of the Joker, and then I think of we live in a society, and then I think of that new Joker, the one from the Suicide Squad, and it makes me very unhappy. So what I prefer is cats. I am a cat lady. I have tens of thousands of cats. I can kind of direct the cats with laser pointers and food and treats. But I have no.
So you feed the cats too?
Yeah, I feed the cats, and I point my laser pen all over the place where I want the tens of thousands of cats to go, and like 1% of them actually follow the laser pointer. But I have no direct control over the cats. And then the cats will find mice, and they'll bring you dead shit all the time, and it's a token of affection. You just gotta roll with it. And they're cats.
But it's it's the indifference and the laughter. Because how do you fight an enemy that laughs at you?
No, you lose.
You just and the people who do, like Shane, this guy, whenever someone goes and they make their little account and they go to that Jason Youngbluth guy did it, they go to try and combat the narrative and they just get absolutely annihilated.
This is going to be an edgy reference, but I recently, like in the last few months, I read Rules for Radicals because Hillary Clinton had put it as one of the books that inspired her the most. I'm like, okay, if Hillary Clinton likes it, I'll probably like it.
Sure.
So I pick it up and
so you like bathing in the blood of newborns as well?
Of course, it keeps my skin very healthy. And while I'm sitting there in the bathtub full of abortion byproduct and blood, to keep my eternal youth going, I'm reading this book, Rules for Radicals, and I've mentioned this before on a different live stream, but there's a point where the author describes how he's taking minority populations in ghettos and inspiring them to change the community through protests and clever forms of protest. And he says the most effective way to combat authority is by ridiculing it. Because ridicule, you can put up logical arguments and people can debate them. You can put up moral arguments, people can debate them, but they can't debate ridicule because it's an emotional thing and a logical thing that people can cope with adequately. So he was talking about how he would ridicule the city. I think of Rochester, New York, because it had a symphony there. And his plan was, we're going to take all the black people and we're going to feed them beans. And all the black people are going to buy tickets to the symphony and they're going to fart naturally during the symphony. And it will disrupt the symphony so badly, it'll cause such a ruckus and it will humiliate the city government of Rochester. And they'll just keep doing it and just make a laughing stock of the entire city. And the threat of this alone was so strong that it immediately caused the city to surrender to the group's demands because they had no idea how to combat this. Like, what are you going to do? You're gonna ban black people because you think they're a part of this organization? Are you going to ban people who fart from your symphony? You have no tools against it. So Alinsky, yeah, is not wrong, and that's the lesson. It's the lesson of the last decade. The lesson of the 2010s is that the funniest side will always win.
Yeah, and if people didn't learn that from the last election, that's be funny. Be funny. Right now we're in maximum funny. And I fully agree with that. But yeah, that's the farm's advantage. So that was Ty's little hat tip, I think, to the farms in that. And we were just laughing about this guy going on and thinking he was going to combat the narrative. Of course, it made it all worse for him, I would think. So let me
Yes, yes, he did. Because now he's at the top of my list. This guy has made me laugh, and he's brought joy. He's brought actual joy to hundreds of people.
yeah. Well, you were dead inside until he came around. I think that's fair to say.
Well, I mean, you never know what's going to happen when you wake up in the morning and you check your inbox, and it's just like I get this email, and I'll just read it. It's okay. I don't. He uses a bunch of different pseudonyms. I'm not going to read it, so I just like. I guess I'll just call him Jeff because that's his
Okay,
name on this.
1 second. So after you read this, I'm gonna do the $20 chats because there's probably some questions for you.
Okay, I'll wet the palate for people as we
Yeah.
enter into this. This is how I woke up today. I got this email at 9 a.m. I guess his time, but it says, "Good day. I am emailing you as requested," which is wrong.
Sorry.
You can try to attack my through cyber means now, but it will only help my case. I will not open any return emails from you. I have attached my attorney's contact for your convenience. Contact him, not me, from this point. Sincerely, Jeff/Gottfried. And then it had contact information for a lawyer, to which I replied simply, "That's not how that works."
But he'll never see it. He's got you. He's got you
Yeah,
by the balls.
it's a futile effort because I've already been defeated by this. It's like chess. It's like they need to give this a name. It's the Gottfried opening. He's gonna email you, tell you to contact his attorney, and then not read any replies to your email. It's a perfect opening without any counter.
What's the Japanese? It's like Oma wa me shinderu or whatever. I don't know.
No.
I probably butchered that.
I'm not even gonna try.
From Fist of the North Star, the "You're Already Dead."
Oh,
That's
you're already.
he.
Should have just said that. I would have known what you meant. You
Yeah,
wouldn't
but
have had to try to speak
it wasn't.
Japanese.
It wasn't
Everything
for
would have worked out
you.
fine.
It's for the chat. The chat knows. The chat
The
knows
chat, who
exactly.
also knows Japanese, these Hokkaido Air Force members who also
Here,
speak
here. It's
Japanese.
Ome wa Mao Shinderu. Oh, I was close. Someone
very good.
put it in there. Anyway. Wait, Soye is responding to me on Twitter right now. Oh god, these people are they're so good. Josh, I don't know how I've lived my life.
They're good to you. They treat you well. It's all that prayer. You've been keeping up with your prayers, and God said, I have a few idiots that I will cast aside out of my light for your benefit.
Oh god. He's such an idiot. Ron Toye. Uh all right, we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. But for now, let me do the $20 chats and then make sure we hit those any questions that do come in through those. Ryan Mercado says, under what at Victor Blood is saying, ABA, a voluntary bar association with zero powers, can dismiss a case at will over an Article 3 judge who exercises judicial powers of the United States. Well, no, he's citing the ABA model rules, which are similar to what the Texas rules are, but they're, again, anyone who's not a lawyer who cites to the model rules of professional conduct or even the specific rules of the state that they're in of professional conduct, because a similar rule does exist in Texas. We'll talk. I'm going to talk about this more. But anyone who's not a lawyer who cites those rules always forgets that the first rule is that a lawyer's primary role is to zealously advocate for their clients. And every other rule of professional conduct has to actually butt up against that first rule because it is so dang important for a lawyer to represent their client zealously that the court can't say, well, we want you to zealously represent your client, but not this way. They have to really, really limit that to clearly prejudicial or illegal things. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Well, here's the thing. If you need evidence that lawyers can get away with a lot and still be lawyers, like every member of the Westboro Baptist Church is a member of the bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and they are people who walk around saying God hates fags and fag troops and stuff. And it's like if the bar association really got rid of bigots, you're not even a bigot. But
right.
if it did, they would be the first ones gone. But they've been practicing law for decades.
Let me just remind the audience in the back. Michael Avenatti still has a law license. Michael Avenatti is still licensed to practice law. He's awaiting all sorts of fun criminal charges, but he still has it, and he probably should have been disbarred before his criminal charges, based on some of his other conduct already. But he still has it. His representation is Stormy Daniels. She flat out said he sued Trump without me okaying it. And it cost her $280,000 in attorney's fees to Trump. And he still got his license. That's crazy. It's crazy.
And then if they took it, it would be a stink. Their hands are tied there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's because it's his job, right? It's his job to zealously represent his client. And
even if it's bullshit and he knows it's bullshit, like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I guess you can turn it down, but if you take it,
if you're not banging your clients and you're not stealing their money, honestly, if you're not doing those two things,
is that really sexual misconduct can get you disbarred?
If you are exchanging legal services for sex,
okay, that's different.
Yeah. So the recommended course of action is don't sleep with any clients unless the attorney-client relationship has been severed, or unless you were sleeping with them prior to an establishment of the attorney-client relation. Like, you obviously can defend your spouse, you obviously can defend your long-term boyfriend or girlfriend. That's okay. But if you start defending someone or representing them, and then you start sleeping with them, even if they're paying you, the bar's going to look at that and be like, wait a minute, this is a problem because it
Yeah,
looks like you're
very
leveraging.
disfavorably.
Yeah, because you have a lot of privileged information about that person,
Mm,
and then now you have leverage over them in the form
yeah,
of
that's
acquired.
fair. That's fairer
Yeah.
than anything that people try to get you disbarred for.
Oh yeah. Well, wait till my wife tries, I guess.
Oh God.
Ink Penification says if Ron and Shane attempt to file a lawsuit towards me, they'll be in for a rude awakening. Consider it the legal equivalent of an airstrike followed up by Agent Orange. And last but not least, a Tsar Bomba, a huge nuke. Yes, I'm familiar with the Tsar Bomba. Let me just say, again, if Ron or Shane or anybody is wanting to file a lawsuit against me, my lawyer, Ty Beard, will accept service. So you know where to send it. I guess that would be up to you. I will tell you, it will not be a pleasant endeavor, and I hope you brought your checkbook. That's what I have to say there. Zero the Slayer says the boomer virus has infected the computer itself. It's transferred from human to machine. It's trying to access the internet. Nick, you need to disconnect your computer before you end the world. Yeah. Suddenly all websites are run by someone with my level of technical prowess. The world ends tomorrow. Dark1005 says law stream hacked by Mall Ninja and his lawyers. Get wrecked. Blaine20 says the white tiger sees all. Phoenix76 says we haven't shot off anyone's head yet. Josh 2019. So that was good.
I'm glad my campaign's going well. I'll be MEP for England in no time.
Oh, come on. Don't do that to him. Does he have a thread? Does Carl have a thread?
Does Sargon have a thread? Sargon's thread is like 5,000 pages long.
I figured, but I've never looked.
When it first opened, everybody's like, "Why would you make it?" Because this was a simpler time. Like in middle of Gamergate, I think his thread was made in like 2015. People are like, "Why would you make a thread on this boring asshole fuck?" And now it's just like, what a colossal train wreck this person's entire life is.
Yeah, it's and again, like I always have to say this because I laugh at Carl a lot, but I like him just fine. I
don't have anything against him. I just wish he would stop ruining Dankula. Like, please stop embarrassing Dankula by proxy. He's trying really hard not to go to prison right now, and you're fucking with him.
Oh no! To be clear, Evil Bunny, I go look at Kiwi Farms, but I don't have a Kiwi Farms account, and I mainly look at the stuff that I'm covering. So.
And somebody, I guess this is the problem when we do these super chats, like everyone's like a little thought bubble that becomes like a tangent. Like this tangent is also a tangent about tangents.
Yes.
Somebody was like on poll was saying, wouldn't it be funny if we got dragged in, then the forum would also get dragged in. And I was just sitting there thinking like, okay, what would happen is they would say we need any relevant correspondence between like Nick Rekieta and Vic Montana or Lasagna or whatever, as Dick likes to call him. And I'm just thinking like all I would be able to do is write an affidavit saying I have nothing to give you.
Yeah.
And then I would go, because they probably need that signed by a notary. I would have to find a notary agent, and they're called like they're all over the place. I can see the word notary in acrylic or Siluric. I don't know how to pronounce that word, even though I've been here for a year.
I don't
either.
I
would go there and I would get a stamp from like a Slavic notary agent, and it would be signed in the language in Russian. And then I would scan that and I would send that to a U.S. court saying, "This is my affidavit saying I have no information to give you, as notarized by Ivanova." And you just have to deal with it. I have nothing.
With the like ring from the vodka bottle sitting on top of the paper for too long.
It would just be like a little stain from some kind of shot glass.
Right. Yeah, it's funny. I won't say too much more than that, but it's funny that and Pull stands to be brought into the lawsuit because one side of this decided to cite a rumor website with liars in the name as a source. Like what on earth are you thinking?
I'm just thinking, if I was the attorney responding to that, I would, you know how in legal documents you have the henceforths, which is obsolete now. They just use parentheses and quotes after the full title. I would have to say Pretty Little Liar, users of prettyuglylittleLiar.com, parentheses quote, little liars, in parentheses in quote, and then just refer to them as little liars throughout any reference to that. Because that's like, I mean, it's not even wrong. It's not like it's a pejorative being created to intentionally make these people look more obtuse than they actually are. Like that is a fair name to give them as a henceforth in that document, and it's the perfect kind of, as Scott Adams would say, linguistic kill shot, because it's how do you trust the little liars?
It's devastating. It's a devastatingly stupid citation, and the best part is the poll should be upset. Or we'll just call them pretty liars or whatever. Or little liars, I think you said. We'll just call them little liars. Henceforth, little liars. They should be upset because right now, the Beard can write a subpoena and get all of their IP addresses and email register and any other registration information that they have. He can make that request legitimately to little liars, and the option would be to either comply or nuke the website and disappear. Like that's
or hire a lawyer to fight the court order.
Right, and good luck fighting that court order, because you have, according to one of the parties, information that they believe to be relevant. He could certainly write that subpoena tomorrow and file it and send it to them, and they would be compelled by court order to produce that information. So, little liars, if you think Soye and Monica and Casey Eric are your allies, they just knowingly
sabotaged your entire site.
They knowingly provided the avenue to dox all of you in a legal document that will be public. Like, I don't know that that'll happen, but they did it. And no one has cited the Kiwi Farms as evidence. Kiwi Farms doesn't have any information that is not that's private, as far as I can tell. Everything is reflecting on the public record, but Pretty Ugly Little Liars is apparently the source document of several allegations that
by relevant parties.
Yeah, that the defending parties have relied on to make their claims. So what you have to do in a defamation case to prove truth of a statement is you have to get the party that said it to prove the truth. So you will have to dox the person. They will have to sign an affidavit because they will have to authenticate the statement as from them and true, and assert the truthfulness of it, and be subject to cross.
Be able to prove that the user on that site is the person that they claim is making that claim.
Exactly. And if they can't
anything
find
on
them,
the forum that Ty would want to use for his document, he can follow the crumbs and never have to actually cite the Kiwi Farms in the claim in the filing, because he has the source, he has the archive, and he can just cite the archive.
It was absolutely ridiculous of them to do that. I mean, absolutely downright stupid. They could have done
it. It was content, because it's good for the numbers. It's good for drawing people in. Come visit our site from CGL. All of the cosplay thoughts on 4chan. Come visit Pull, because we have the voice actor for Bulma.
The hugest draw in the world. The gravity is astounding. Starcasp Network says, "Hey Nick, I'm a small creator and have been doing videos on Indiegogo campaigns. These creators' passion is reflected in their work, and I'm trying to do what I can for them. Can I get a shout out to help bring attention to them?" Sure. Shout out to the Starcasp Network. That's CASP capitalized. I don't know what the acronym is, but yeah, man, keep it up, buddy. Christopher Scott says, "I'll clear this up for anyone that doesn't know much about the Air Force. The Air Force has a few combat jobs: TACP, pararescue, Combat Control, and Special Reconnaissance, formerly known as SOWT. Thank you, Christopher Scott, for clarifying that. I didn't see that listed on his military history document. I assume you've seen that, right? His
military history document.
his
Oh
purported.
God, is he gonna get in trouble with those psychotics who
It's
do the stolen valor thing?
The Freedom of Information Act. There's a Freedom of Information Act release on him that's being circulated.
No kidding.
I don't know. I got it in my Discord, but I don't, or from a guy in my Discord. I don't know where it came from or anything. But let's see. Just gonna go ahead and it doesn't have any of that listed. But I don't know if this thing is. There's problems apparently with the document, I'm being told, but I'm not an expert in any
you got to
of this,
be careful with those like self-declared vigilante boomers on Facebook. I don't trust any of those people.
Yeah, they're calling it a DD-214, but it's not. I can't tell if that's actually the document number is cut off, but it's an information releasable under FOIA. So I don't know. I'll let that matriculate on its own because I can't verify anything in it, and I don't want to do that. And the person who sent it to me says there's problems with this document. So, and it wasn't suggesting that there are problems with the guy. It was more there are problems with what's on the document. So it could be a forgery or something. You know, we don't know. Mythos Irving says, be funny, but not Funimation. Funny as in Funimation. They are being sued. And then Blaine 20 says, Bill Thornton had a case where they couldn't accuse the cops of kidnapping the lady, so they labeled them as kidnappers in the brief. That roasted their hides. Yeah, you can do stuff like that if you're careful with it. But yeah, so this guy, are you talking about his lawyer at all yet, or no?
No, I've only read that he included contact information for a lawyer.
Yeah.
So at that point, I mentioned I might do this. I did actually do it. I went to that website and I went ahead and sent an email to him saying that this person claims to have attorney-client privilege with you because he's saying that you're his lawyer. But then in his reply, he does a reply, even though he said he will not even open any email. Maybe he didn't open it and just replied to it without looking at it. He says, I'll let my lawyers handle it. I am not a lawyer. I have an appointment with them because of my special circumstance. I don't think you are aware of all the details. I am sure that you are not a lawyer that has dealt with a military veteran with a security clearance. The rules change when there are extenuating circumstances. We'll see what happens. Hang tight.
Let me just say a couple things. So I looked up the lawyer too. I won't release who it is until you do, or anything like that. But
I have a feeling that this guy is. I'm never going to hear about this guy again.
Yeah, because this guy might not be involved with him at all, and people should, we don't want anybody to like go hassle this random lawyer. But the guy that you showed me anyway is definitely not an attorney with like a security clearance. 100%. I would bet so much money that guy is not a lawyer with a security clearance that would be qualified to deal with someone from military intelligence and have any sort of like, he's just a guy. He's just a lawyer, like a personal injury guy.
The thing is that his claim is that it's a criminal offense to publish docs of a member of the federal government that has certain protections, which I know is a thing. And I know that, like, for instance, my mom, when she did real estate, she couldn't, if a house was listed and it did not list the owner on the portal, she knew immediately it was like a cop or a judge or something, because that information is hidden for security reasons. But it's like, okay, if it's an issue of national security, as he alleges it is, I imagine what happens is I just get an email from the State Department saying this has to be deleted as it's an issue of national security. And then I would have to retract my warrant canary and issue a statement, if at all possible, saying that had happened, and I can't, and not being able to say more. But it's not a civil offense. It's not something you hire. It's not something you hire a dog bite lawyer for. That's what I'm getting at.
An
which
insurance chasing dog bite lawyer. I mean, that's
yeah, insurance chasing. That was a when you said that it clicked because the guy his like, okay, if you've been injured by a vehicle or by this or by that or by this or a dog, then contact me. And the guy, I'm not going to make fun of him because his website was quite nice, but it was very obvious he's like in his early 30s. He's not
yeah.
somebody who's been doing this for 30 years.
No, he looks like a guy I mean, he's an independent practitioner. He's working. I got no, that's why I don't want to talk about his name unless it's like actually confirmed that he's representing the guy and stuff. Because this guy could have just pulled up any lawyer, gotten a consultation with them, and thrown him in the email at you. But he looks like a guy who does, you know, just fine, respectable legal work. I mean, there's no shame going after insurance companies for money for people who need
No,
it.
it's a paycheck.
It's a
Yeah.
good paycheck because
Oh,
insurance companies make, they pay out settlements usually very often, and you can you get a
well,
third of it.
I'll tell you a personal anecdote I had with this is that I when I lived in New York, I had a roommate who was Puerto Rican, strangely enough, and he rode his bike everywhere, and he got fucking hit. He got hit bad, and it was only by the grace of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ that he did not break his neck, because if it had been an inch different, he would have been crippled horribly. And the guy was completely at fault. He was also Puerto Rican, very strangely, and it had all been caught on tape by the red light that the guy blew through and hit him. But he rolled over the hood of the car, and it was only because his bike wheel hit at an angle. The bike itself crumpled, and if it had hit differently, it would have been him that had crumpled. So he gets there. I'm like, oh, okay, you've been hit by a car. This is a new experience for me. I've never been hit by a car. I've never seen anybody hit by a car. I guess I'm gonna call my mom because I don't know. I have a body here. I have to figure out what to do. And she's like, okay, number one, don't call an ambulance. That's like $2,000. Number two, uh, take pictures of stuff because you're going to claim insurance. And then that's it. So like, okay, so we got an Uber. his, his legs are all fucked up. We call an Uber because it's $60 as opposed to 2,000.
Yeah.
And I take pictures of it on my phone, and he goes in, and he's got to use a crutch and stuff, but he's fine. And then and number three, she said number three, get a lawyer. They're like, okay, so I do that, and next day, guy, one of those personal injury attorneys you see advertised everywhere because they make so much money, comes down and is like, I know the local agent for their insurance. They're suddenly denying it, but we have the footage of it. We're gonna settle, and he got like a $30,000 settlement, like, and everything paid.
Yeah, and
So it's like,
the
boom.
lawyer got 10 grand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody's happy.
Yep,
Everybody's happy. Nobody went to jail. It's whatever.
yep, the personal injury attorneys make a lot of money because they get a third of whatever the insurance company is going to pay out, and oftentimes the facts are so in favor of the person, and especially in a case like that where, I mean, it's really not worth fighting for the insurance company. It would cost way more than 30 grand to go ahead and fight that. Much easier to settle it out. And
Oh yeah, yeah,
and,
yeah.
and stuff.
Like it took weeks. That's it. It took weeks to get that money, to get a $30,000 paycheck in the mail. Like that's nuts.
Yep.
So no hatred for this man who is irking by a living comfortably in the warm, sunny Houston or Dallas area. So, but I feel bad for him because this insane person has roped him into his antics. And after that email, he sends me another one. Oh, by the way, the subject of this email chain is legal action against KiwiFarms.net and Josh quote Null Moon.
Uh-oh. He knows. He knows.
He knows. I like it. My favorite thing, possibly top 10 favorite things ever on the site, is when somebody finds my name and pulls it on me. Like, I gotcha. And it's like, you ain't the first. You ain't the first. We've been down this road for 6 years now. You're not the first. And they genuinely think that's like, oh, I got you. I'm an internet badass. I found out your name.
You thought you were anonymous, you internet troll. You incel internet troll. Oh,
Yeah,
dude.
you incel. That's one of my favorite insults. When somebody on the internet says that we're incels, it's like it's just great because it's funny because we have threads on incels who call us feminazis, and then the feminazis wouldn't like no, they're not feminazis. They're alt right, and then the alt right would go no, they're making fun of the right. They're social justice warriors, and it's like a cycle of people like a hot potato. They're trying not to take it's like a Maury Povich show where they're trying like 5 different men are trying to figure out who made this retard baby, and they're all trying not to take credit for it.
Oh my god.
But
Thank you for doing that to Maury. That was good. That was whew.
So this other email doesn't have any actual text, but it does have a signature that includes his phone number, and this it's not a haiku, it's just a saying. Ability is what you're capable of doing. Motivation determines what you do. Attitude determines how well you do it. So I don't know which of these 3 things he's lacking in his life right now, but something's not going as planned.
Attitude doesn't determine how well you do something. Let me just put that out there. That's a what was that? I'm trying to think. That's a truism or whatever, because attitude, ability has a lot to do with how well you do something too. Okay. Anyway, I can't stand people like this guy because
that are smug. I hate smug. Smug is you can be anything. Just don't be smug. Because when you're smug, you're challenging the world to wipe that shit off your face. Like, you're begging for it. It's like you be humble. Because if you're humble, people don't want to instinctively want to hurt you. That's why everybody's so happy. Everybody, doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, you're happy to see Sargon be befouled because he's smug and nobody likes that.
yeah. Yeah, it is. And now I'm smug from time to time. I try to only be smug after I'm right. And
Yes, you can be smug. It is acceptable to be smug. It does not make you friends. It never makes you friends, but it enthralls the your current supporters to be a little bit smug. It's just it has to be earned.
yeah, that's the trick. That's the trick. It has to be earned, and it has to be used sparingly, I would think. You can't have possess the character of smugness. You have to just employ being smug from time to time. When you've earned it or whatever.
Somebody, I like this. Somebody in chat with an anime avatar says Josh hates smug pictures, and that's a reference to when I worked on 8chan. And I hated the people who posted smug anime girls in my development threads. It's like, stop posting these smug anime women in my development threads. This is supposed to be serious, and you're being obnoxious with these smug animes. And when I said that, of course, everybody started posting more. Somebody said I have a folder with literally 3,000 still images of smug anime women, and you're gonna see every single one of them by the time that this software is dead.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, so
I love telling the internet not to do stuff.
yeah, I've learned my lesson over the years.
Yeah.
But this blank email that I received was in response to a message that says, "Are you aware this is a dog bite, car accident, and workplace injury lawyer?" And he sends me again an email that has literally nothing in it except the signature, and then a follow up email 2 minutes later saying, "Are you aware he belongs to the Bar Association and has contact with hundreds of thousands of other lawyers? A mat-
No.
a matter of that he's a personal injury lawyer. This is cause of a personal injury, and furthermore, who belongs to an association that has thousands of other lawyers in the city of Dallas who are more than willing to help me out the situation to protect my private information from the general public. I'm sure you would not be happy if someone released all of your private and personal information, including a picture of your house, your address, a picture of your daughter's school, and a lot of other personal information. I'm sure you would not like that if you had a family to protect and a reputation for text that you could feed that family. I'm I'm asking you as a man to remove my personal information from your website. Be a man and don't act like a child and turn this into a stupid legal battle. I've got nothing but time and money, my friend, and I guarantee
He's also
you
rich. He's also super rich.
and I guarantee you will lose. But the other side of that coin, a real man would admit to his faults and apologize and remove another man's personal information as a status of honor and integrity as a man. So what are you gonna do? Sincerely, Jeff.
Please
Um,
tell me you responded, did you just assume my gender, you son of a...
I replied, I've had people do worse. I thought you were the most dangerous man in the world. Why am I tougher than you? And I'm not going to do anything.
That's
What's
rude.
funny, he mentions that his daughter's school was published, and I don't think it was, unless it was by accident. Because
Oh
from what I
no,
understand,
it was his
he,
fault.
yeah, his business teaching, Hapkido or whatever. He teaches at an elementary school. He teaches martial arts at the elementary school. So when his place of where he does lessons was published, that happened to be the school that I guess his daughter goes to. At least, but this is information passed on to me from this man in
Yeah,
this email. I
it's
did
funny
not know
because
before.
lots of martial arts instruction takes place in schools. They have gymnasiums that aren't in use for the vast majority of evenings, weekends, and summers. Great place to do that type of programming. You can partner with local cities or schools or with anybody. No one would know that that's that guy's daughter's school. No one on earth would have any way to know that other than him including that he
No.
set up his business there and then
A lot of
and
information in the U.S. is public, but they do not post the fucking rosters of elementary schools to the
here
public. That's actually kept private.
here's a list of our children, their bedtimes and their fears.
The worst fears. Little Sally hates snakes, and she lives at this address. Whatever you do, do not dump 2 tons of snakes into the chimney at night because that would scare the shit out of her.
By the way, here's the time of our next fire drill where all the students will be outside and accessible and the teachers will be distracted.
Oh no! This is the time of our next planned active shooter drill.
Oh my gosh. I got a couple more chats here. Bagel Goose says Jim refused to show me his toes, so Null will be my rebound feet. You don't even have a webcam, do you?
I know we talked about this right before the stream. If I cut on I don't know if this will work, but if I turn my camera on, it makes my camera this weird, like old school television test screen where they test the color on the like the 8-bit colors,
Yeah.
and that's because I have no webcam whatsoever.
Yeah, thanks for that. So that's gonna have to do for his toes, Bagel Goose. I'm sorry. Blink Your Eyes 1400 says I've been hit by a vehicle when crossing a road in England 19 years ago at the age of 10 and woke up in the hospital. No recollection of being hit. So pro tip: don't get hit. I broke a leg and almost died. Whoa, not fun, buddy. Phoenix 76 says Nick talking about being smug as I take a drink of whiskey from my Rekieta Law smug mug.
Oh, yeah, you've gotten the smug down to an art, but it's not even like verbal smug. It's just like once people start yelling at each other, you just like, yeah, I know, this is fun. I'm just gonna drink.
Yeah, it's because what do, right? You're gonna stop them from yelling at each other.
Yeah, you're just
Uh,
gonna sit there. No, you might as well drink. You might as well look smug doing it.
Talbot Link says, dude, ask to see that loser's coin. Make him prove the Air Force connection.
Oh God.
Okay, then next we've got Shanna. And after I read these, I want to talk about something because I've leaked secret text messages, and I have been accused I've been accused of getting them from Ty Beard, And I've been accused, and people have suggested that that will get the case dismissed if Ty Beard were to give me those texts. So I got to put these rumors to rest. They're very serious, and I'm going to do a source reveal on the text messages. I'm gonna talk about where I got them in just a second. So Shanna Wansho says, Ara Ara, I heard you love Bukaki, Rekieta-san. A Bukaki of money. You weren't late and gay tonight, just a boomer. Bukiona Ito. Don't say, sorry, but I couldn't help myself. Thanks. I won't say that. I won't say that. Declare High says, Null is great. I missed the Kiwi Farm stream replays on YouTube. Where do I catch them now? Yeah.
My headquarters for dodging bans is matattheinternet.com.
Right.
And I have a link to my BitChute page where I try to keep archives of everything.
And people can also, they can go there with like a Brave browser and support you with the Brave basic attention token, right? Like there.
Yes, not on matattheinternet.com, but just on the main Kiwi Farms page. There's a very interesting, if you don't know, Brave is a browser that is essentially functionally the same as Google Chrome and has access to all the add-ons and stuff that Google Chrome uses, but it's modified and branded by Brendan Eich. And Brendan Eich is the original founder of Mozilla Foundation and also the co-developer of JavaScript. So he has a massive pedigree, and he was ousted from the Mozilla Foundation for supporting Prop 9 in California against gay marriage.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
Mozilla Foundation got rid of him. And ever since then, Mozilla has just been a tremendous failure and has been constantly losing market share to Google because it's just better than Firefox in every way. And there's been a recent fiasco where they let a certificate expire and every Firefox extension in the entire world deactivated at once because they were idiots and didn't keep up with the clerical aspects of their browser. So if you don't want to use Google botnet, but you do want to switch off of Firefox and Chrome to a browser that's made by a guy that probably actually gives a shit, Brave is very good, and it is tied into cryptocurrency stuff. So if you're looking to get into that as well, Brave is a good excuse to do it. So I shill it as strongly as I can because from what I've seen, just from what I've managed to collect from people who have voluntarily switched over to Brave, the system works phenomenally, and the financial support from Brave users is it's like a healing salve on a burn wound. It just feels great.
Yeah, and it's cool because just by going to the website and spending time browsing websites or browsing the website and reading the forums, you actually get to support the content that you like to consume. So
it's like what you do is you set a budget. So instead of having ads in your face wasting your time, it has like a built-in ad blocker, and then through their proprietary thing, it's like, okay, you buy however much Brave you want from their system, and then it'll look at your time spent on different websites, and based on your settings, it'll allot to those sites if they're on the publishing system a fraction of your amount. So if you say I want to spend $10 a month supporting websites I visit, it'll look at, okay, you spent like a week straight watching the Plinkett reviews, and you spent 12 hours on the Kiwi Farm, so we're going to spend 80% of that to the Red Letter Media guys because it recognizes YouTube channels as well.
Yep.
And then the other 20% to the Kiwi Farms. And I just love it, and I can't wait to see what else he does.
Yeah. So then the follow-up to that was, where did it go? Also, Arch Warhammer is really good on 40k lore and fighting against feminine incursions into Warhammer tabletop. When are you going to get him on? I tried to get him on for the 40k stream, but the time for him, it's like 5 a.m. his time when I start the show, so it was a little rough. But I'm working on something with Arch, or I shouldn't say I'm working on getting Arch on the show at a time that would be better for him to do that. So just so you know, I have had contact with him, and he did say that, or he did seem to express a little bit of interest in being on at some point. Siren Jag says, I, Nick Rekieta, hereby promise that I will give free cuddles to anyone annoyed by the Game of Thrones finale for the next 24 hours. Just knock on my safe door. When I answer, say, I'm gonna have to eat every effing chicken in this room. Okay, I guess. And then Tennessee Marine, hey, thanks, buddy. He says, be good, homie. Back at you, man. I might actually be back in Knoxville around in late August. I'll let you know. I'll let you know, man. I'd love to grab a drink with you and catch up, but I'm trying. I'm trying to get that arranged. So hopefully things are going well for you, dude. And then finally, Austin Heartless says, source reveal. That's better than a toe reveal. Now let me do this. I guess let me do this source reveal if you don't mind, Josh. So I released some text messages from Ron Toye, Monica Rial's fiance. By the way, as a frequent observer of people that you are, an aficionado, if you will, how long should an engagement last?
An engagement?
An engagement to be married.
Well, I've never been married, but the way I picture it in my head is like, okay, you decide that you want to get married, and then the only thing that happens after that is the legal side, and maybe a celebration if you're into that, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, when can we conceivably plan this event? And it would probably be at most a year. At most a year.
So 4.5 to 5 years might be a bit of a stretch.
4.5 years. That's like longer than most relationships. That's longer than most marriages nowadays.
Yeah, so I call them the perpetually unmarried.
Why would they not just get married?
I don't
mean,
know.
all you're doing is signing a piece of paper.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure they have a very good reason for it. But anyway, so Monica Rial's fiance is a guy named Ron Toye. He's not apparently affiliated with anime of any kind. He's a mortgage guy, but he sent some text messages to Kamea-con. This is back in late January, actually early January, then late January, then early February. So it's stretching from January 11th to February 1st. Text messages back and forth with them about, at first, about his mortgage group sponsoring, it's a mortgage franchise of a larger company, but sponsoring the convention. So they get some advertisement to all these weebs who are going there and who might want to buy a house, right? Like that's the idea. So they were talking about doing that. I've heard the amount is $25,000. I don't know for sure. I can't 100% verify that, but my source on that is very, very good. But I've heard the amount's about $25,000 for the sponsorship. So he's offering that. Then the Vic stuff happens. And then he basically says, well, I don't know if we can actually sponsor it if you're going to have Vic there. You know? And so that starts to smell like tortious interference. And then he says, actually, Monica's not going to be able to come if Vic's there because or I don't know if he said that explicitly in this string of text. He did say that Monica and some other people are going to come forward and are coming forward and have come forward to accuse Vic. And he said there's a employment investigation and a legal investigation going on, and we're just not going to be able to sponsor you guys if Vic's going. That's that. And then of course Kamea-con drops Vic.
Was this from Toye?
Yeah, this is all from Ron Toye. These texts were.
I guess it's a disadvantage to Vic that they're not actually married, huh?
Not really, because he just sues Ron also. Yeah, and Ron is being sued. He's sued. Monica's sued.
He's named already?
Yeah. Yep.
Because I'm just thinking of how when the crazy Jewish people from the hills of Virginia started filing all that crap in the poor rural court system, the rural
juror.
yeah. I'm just thinking like, because at some point he explicitly says that his intent with the lawsuit is to make money, and that's why they're filing it, and it has nothing to do with like justice or anything, or that they actually feel that they've been wronged. And I'm like, surely, if she sues me and they're married, and he says that, him saying that represents her lawsuit. Like, surely.
Possibly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it could. But here, the problem with married people is you can't force them to testify against each other.
Right.
Whereas unmarried people, you actually can. So that's an interesting conundrum for them.
Okay, I wanted to ask you about this. I did not know that you could force somebody. Like, it never clicked in my head. You could force somebody to testify.
Oh yeah.
That when I was like, wait, somebody can force me to go to a court to tell a story I don't want to tell, like legally back that up, make me go someplace and talk. I don't like really.
It's not always the best plan, right? Like,
Yeah, no kidding. If you,
if they
drag
have
me to a courtroom,
so you typically don't want to do that to someone who has favorable information for you. You don't want to force them to come in, because if you force them to come in, they're going to phrase things in a way that'll harm you. Something will go bad. Even their attitude will make the jury uncomfortable.
yeah,
But
because what's his face? Greer threatened. I think it was Greer, like, or somebody else threatened to subpoena testimony from me in his defense. No, it was one of these the Jewish people from the hills again. It was the stalker said if he was going to go down, he would subpoena me as favorable witness testimony. And I'm like, I would just go there and I would say every horrible thing I could about you. And he was just like, I don't care.
right, and that's the risk. That's the risk of trying to force someone to give testimony for your side.
I just want to drag you to a courtroom in the middle of the hills in Virginia because I hate you.
So anyway, so I released these text messages. They are brutal because Ron and Monica and their little I don't know what to call him. Something offensive. Shane Holmberg, who also decided to make a Kiwi Farms thread, or Kiwi Farms account, and talk about his thread, and just said a bunch of really just...
Which I always recommend. If you ever want to come visit the forum and make a defense, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a good plan. He did it. He executed it masterfully. Really showed everybody on Kiwi Farms what was up. So he... he's their little lick spittle. We'll use that word, a lick spittle.
It just sounds nasty.
It is. It's disgusting. It means you lick up their saliva, right?
Yeah.
So he's their little lick spittle. That's where he gets his daily soy intake. And he comes out and says that when I first revealed that they did this, he comes out and says that I'm lying, that I could never prove it, blah, blah, blah. They all say the same thing. This never happened, all this stuff. And of course, so then just a little bit ago, I produced the text messages. And suddenly that narrative has shifted to Ron Toye immediately says, yeah, those are real, that's the big brain move. And then Toye apparently releases the text messages to Shane because he has the same text messages, but from the other side of the conversation. So this is dumb. It's not against the rules or anything, but it's just dumb because it authenticates the text again, and it's from the source. And they revealed that Ron was actively giving Shane information, which is something that I suspected for a long time, but I could never confirm until now.
Wait, so what you're saying is that there were minds. There are at least two different minds, and they did meeting. Is that what you're saying to me?
Well, there was a meeting of those minds apparently.
Oh, geez, that sounds tortuous.
But anyway, but when I released the text messages, the narrative shifted to, where did I get them? Like Pretty Ugly Little Liars had their very smart take where they're like, he better not have gotten them illegally because apparently I'm zero cool. I'm able to hack the planet and get the text messages illegally, I guess. Then the recent narrative, and this is blown up today, is that it would not only get the case dismissed if I got them from Ty, If I got those things from Ty, it would be violating all sorts of rules. It's clearly illegal for Ty to release information during an active lawsuit and all of that stuff. So I have to clear this up. I have to address where I got the text messages, okay? I got them directly from Ty Beard. Of course I got them from Ty Beard. It's not against the rules. It's not against the rules of professional conduct. It's not against any law. It's not against case law. There's nothing privileged. Those are going to come out in discovery. There's no way you can say they were defamatory or fabricated or that they're overly prejudicial to the... I mean, they're certainly prejudicial. Because
I'm thinking it's, well, number one, that's all going to be in the documents, right? Like
of course. It's direct evidence of both defamation and tortious interference from at least Ron, if not Monica. It's a prima facie case. It'll probably be in the initial anti-slap motion. The response to the anti-slap motion that is going to be fired. Of course, this is public. There's no protective order in this case. There's nothing.
And the logic is, I mean, if you're going to argue that Ty shouldn't be able to release it, like, isn't his job to go contact media people and say, look at this stuff that we have that proves our case? Isn't that
I mean, have you ever seen a lawyer? Have you ever in your life seen a lawyer make a public statement on a case?
Like Michael Avenatti, who would not stop being on national television talking about the details of their case over and over again for months.
Like Johnny Cochran, like Gloria Allred, like literally hundreds and hundreds of high-profile attorneys who go and talk on news shows and give out case information all the time. Like the lawyer for every black guy shot by police. They go right out.
He's a good boy.
Exactly.
They have all this evidence.
Because it's a lawyer's job. It's a lawyer's job to zealously represent their client. Now, I'll tell you, the only reason he gave me those text messages is in response to the chicken shit answer that Casey Eric filed in the case. That's why he gave him. Because that answer is full of defamatory statements about Vic, and a response was required. And
you can't claim defamation in a
pleading,
suit, right?
Yeah, in a pleading document, they're privileged from defamation, and which is of course why he did it. And why he cites to Pretty Ugly Little Liars and Tumblr and a Google Doc in it, because they're technically protected, and to fight and try to get those struck from the things costs money and costs time and is a waste of everybody's day.
Yeah, and I guess it would have to have a quote literally saying, "I am doing this for the sole intention of defaming the character of Vic Montana." Yeah, like, it has to be very on the nose in intention.
Or you're spending like 10, 15 grand to fight it in motion, and it's a mess. It's a mess to do it. So went ahead and just gave me some text messages. And I happily released those text messages to point out the fact that, one, I wasn't lying. I wasn't lying at all about the Kamea interference. And all the people who publicly stated I was liars got to eat their own anuses on that one. They just got to...
Is that a Minnesota law expression?
Yeah, that's you learn that as a 2L, usually in your torts class. No, it's they just got to go ahead and tongue that sphincter of themselves, waiting for their next meal, because of course I didn't lie about it. Oh God. So anyway, the texts are from Ty. Suck it, Shane. Suck it, Toye. I don't care. What are you gonna do? You're gonna file a motion that somehow that was improper? I mean, have fun with that, I suppose, but there's no protective order. You put out a defamatory pleading. Ty has every right to respond to that. And if you're going to argue that me releasing these text messages, which you also released on my show, is somehow going to taint a Texas jury pool, you're an idiot. Good luck. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I mean, because I guess the argument in response would be that Vic still has to work out a living, right? So any chance to win the court of public opinion is valid, right?
Yeah, and guess what? There's a group of really exceptional people. Really exceptional. Shane is exceptional. Monica's exceptional. Ron is exceptional. Their lawyer's exceptional. Over and over and over, publicly stating constantly, we want everything public. We want it all public. And now when a bunch of text messages come out that they were happy to authenticate and verify immediately, they're going to say, whoa, he shouldn't have released those. Well, why not? You want literally everything public. You clearly are trying to defame him. You're clearly trying to selectively release his deposition to the public. That was your plan. Are you mad that we beat you to it, you idiots? Oh my God. As soon as Monica allows Ron's testicles to drop, this case will get really interesting. But
so do they have a lawyer?
Yeah, he's this guy named Casey Eric out of Dallas. According to Pretty Ugly Little Liars, the greatest lawyer to ever walk the earth.
Oh, God's gift to mankind.
Yeah, of course he is.
He's stepped down from the heavens to defend Monica.
Like in Dragon Ball, he has the halo because he's only here for a limited amount of time before he'll have to go back. But yeah.
Oh, of course. That's why there's that famous, I don't know if it's famous, but it's one of my favorite things. It's a ASMR video of Goku, and he's back from heaven, and he's got the halo, and he's doing a super power-up move, and it's like, you can't do that because it'll exhaust all your time on Earth.
Yeah, exactly.
This opening thing, that's his ultimate move, and it's going to exhaust all his time when he has to part ways for irreconcilable differences.
So hey, Shane, Soye, little cutesy people that you are, who really want this all to be public. You guys say, they say I selectively released the text. No, I released the full conversation that was given to me. I released that full thing. There's no edits of the text. The only thing I edited out was Toye's phone number. Now, interestingly, Soye had the guy from Kamea-Khan's name in his contacts, but the guy from Kamea-Khan didn't have Soye in his contacts, and never did. I had to edit all of them, so that's kind of sad that he never bothered to add you to his contact list. How embarrassing is that? Texts you for a month and a half and just doesn't include your name in his contacts list, so it always listed his phone number. Whew. But you guys apparently, I would guess, have more texts, right? Like you said, I didn't release them all. Why don't you release them? Again, these Shane and Ron Soye have asserted over and over and over that there is evidence out there that will clear the defendants definitely, and these little bitches won't release it. They just can't do. They're like hiding behind this idea that it'll become public at the right time with the secret court proceeding or something like that. Why are you lying about this? Why are you lying to Pretty Ugly Little Liars? Why are you lying to every single person on Twitter? You have the texts. You could release them and put Vic's entire case down. You could save yourself tens of thousands of dollars, maybe even $100,000 if you went ahead and just released the text, but you're going to hold on to them on some sort of honor. You've already released information about this case publicly. There's nothing preventing you from doing it more. You're clearly willing to give it to your little lickspittle Shane, or as a friend of mine calls him, your gimp Shane, and have him release stuff. Why hold back on this critical evidence? You've had critical evidence the entire time. You've refused to release, and you're gonna release it as a gotcha in a court document. You know it's gonna come out months before it goes to court. There's no surprise on your evidence. So why not just put it out? I dare you. I dare you. I double dog dare you to release those, as Shane would call them, exculpatory. He said I refused to release exculpatory evidence. Okay, sure. That's criminal stuff. But go ahead and release your exculpatory texts, and go ahead and prove to the world that I'm just a lying grifter, rather than someone who is manhandling and pimp slapping you back and forth across the internet every single day. How embarrassing your social media presence has become, all of you. Go back to your little hug box and eat your own fluids. God, these people.
I made a post. You might have saw it, but I took all the hashtags I could find related to this, and I plugged them in, and I just kind of looked at the recent history of this stuff, and I couldn't find anything negative towards Vic at all.
They have
And
been 100% annihilated in public. The public fight that they picked, by the way, again, Vic has not said a word about this. They picked a public fight with someone who has stayed off, and then people like me, people like his fans, people like some of the other YouTubers like Hero Hey, Flash, and Umbrella Guy decided that Vic needed a voice, and so we started speaking out. We started speaking out on it, and since that happened, these people got it pushed in, and they got it pushed in hard.
yeah, I mean, so from what somebody said, all the people who would be supporting this are either pushed off to hugbox sites like CGL or Pull, and the main players on that side have been apparently very quiet because they probably got counsel who told them to shut up.
Yeah,
And
for the most
that's
part.
so it's very strange because like I thought it would be loud on both sides, and it was not.
Well, the problem is that every time they're loud, we're able to show exactly where they lied. Like we're able to, again, I was able to produce the text. So they ran with that whole thing. I lied about the Kamehacon thing. I lied about it. I must have been lying. Yeah, no, wasn't lying. There, it's right there in Ron Toye's words. Exactly what happened. You can just read it. Why would you support those people? They've been lying to you too. They've been lying to you the whole time. There's one person I know of who hasn't been wrong about anything in this entire case, and that's me. And I know there's some other.
Is that callback to that smug conversation?
It is, but I'm not being smug here, and it's just because I've been absurdly careful in verifying all of the information that I say. Absurdly careful. There have been plenty of topics where I could go off and I could cover some drama stuff or whatever about it, and no disrespect or anything to anybody who does that. Lots of people want that drama portion of it, and I can only give the drama that I can actually prove, because I know that I'm a target for a defamation lawsuit from these morons. They flat out told me I am. I knew I would be a long time ago. So I went through, I go through every single story I hear, and I try and get 2 to 3 different sources on it, and I try and get documentation on it. So it's always, I say what I can prove. So if I'm wrong about something, one of my sources would be, well, probably multiple of my sources would be very wrong on an issue, and I'd be very, very surprised. It's not smugness or pride or anything. It's just I'm being extremely careful, more careful than I want to be. It'd be much more fun to just mock these people endlessly, but
That's what the forum is for. I had to ask people, like, can you just take all this stuff about Pull and put it in like a containment thread where you just laugh at them for everything that they say? It's cluttering up the main conversation thread. I know people want to have their in-depth conversations, their lore discussions, but no, it's kind of weird because there's like a back and forth now. It's like volleyball. You have to hit it over the net so that the other person can hit it back, because nobody wants to register on the other person's site, so they just screen cap it and reply.
Yep. It's weird because it's like a Cold War, so to speak. but
war games.
But Pull and the other hug boxes, they'll just ban anybody with a contrary opinion. It's crazy. Whereas the farms won't ban you. They may ridicule you or whatever if you come in, but they'll let you say your piece.
Yeah, I would be annoyed if somebody banned somebody for being obnoxious.
Yeah,
and that's sort of the point.
I've got
especially this guy, my new special friend.
Yeah, we got to talk about another one of your forum subjects. Had some information happen today, but I got this from Lydia Schewitz. This is, I know it's backwards. It's Iliac or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce Scottish, but it's an Islay Scotch that you can not get in the U.S. So this was sent to me by Lydia. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna take a sip of this because this is smoky, really, really smoky. So,
You you have like a little aromatic glass and everything.
oh, it's good.
You're like a refined in your whiskey consumption now. It's all a facade. We
But
all know the goodness in there.
you gotta be refined in your whiskey consumption if you're gonna be crass in your commentary, right? You gotta balance. You gotta find balance.
You gotta be refined so a cursory glance from YouTube corporate doesn't look like it's just indulgence. It has to be some sort of classy partaking, adult partaking.
Of course, of course. So another guy who has a thread on your site, Perfection, also known as Xavier Pace.
Okay, let me tell you what I know about Perfection.
Yeah.
Because I was told that there is some hot goss. There is some good back and forth on the Perfection versus what's the
Geekdom.
other guy? The other guy, his name is Geekdom.
It's
The
either
one that
Geekdom or Mad Black. I don't.
Mad Black. That's right.
Okay, Mad Black.
The recent one, and because he was there to bury a hatchet, and his complaint was that I guess you were making money. What was his complaint?
Oh yeah, against me. I don't really know because the moment he got on the show, he started walking back everything and saying it was all a misunderstanding.
Yes, and then he apologized. I don't know if that's public. He apologized to you in private.
Yeah, well, he apologized to me on the show, and then he thanked me in private. He thanked me on the show,
Okay.
and then he thanked me in private for having him on, allowing him to say his piece, and said no beef between us, and I accept that. I fully accept that. And I was supposed to have Mad Black on my show the next day, but I didn't have him on because it was Friday. Two, that was like a kind of a heavy sort of interaction with Perfection, and since they had so much beef and Perfection was saying everything was cool between me and him, Mad Black coming on the next day and possibly getting into that subject and piling on, I didn't want to do that like 2 days in a row because I don't have much against Perfection. Like he said some things that I think were ill thought out, and then I called him on it, and we're good. But so I'm gonna have Mad Black on. I think Friday I'm gonna have him on to talk about some other stuff because I think Mad Black has some random beef with me that I don't really know about either. But I want to get his perspective on the Vic stuff because he's like from my understanding is he's not pro Vic or against Vic. He says this drama is just basically clogging up anime, and he doesn't want to deal with it.
You have to get back to what's important. Which
Exactly.
is Japanese cartoons.
Exactly. So so I want to talk to him about that. I want to talk to him about any issues he might have with me or anything he said. But I didn't want to just pound on Perfection. So instead, I had the lawyer panel, and that was a lot of fun. I regret that zero. But Mad
What
Black,
I remember most about that was that Perfection kept trying to nail Mad Black on stuff they just responded by going so like you had a criminal conviction when you were 19. It's like, so I'm 20 or I'm 40 now. I went to jail when I was 19 and got out when I was 20. I'm 40 at this point.
Right. And no, Perfection did not just change his name to Super Itachi. That was his backup channel, is my understanding on that. So, yeah, but this guy's got Perfection's got issues with a lot of people. He's got big issues with a guy named Geekdom. I think he's made 65 videos about this Geekdom guy, which is
hentai as the thumbnail.
It's 200 less than Sargon has made about Anita Sarkeesian.
Oh my God!
No,
those are rookie numbers. We gotta crank those up. Yeah, I was gonna say 200 less is a little bit. That's a conservative estimate.
So let's see. Mad Black. Oh, he has new beef. It says Mad Black didn't like how you kicked him since he had rules and Perfection didn't. Tries to suggest that he was your guest, not Perfection's guest. Well, he was my guest, but he agreed to those rules, and he was only brought in because at the grace of my guest. But I think Mad Black did just fine. I think Perfection.
He did fine. If he's mad, he's looking for reasons to be mad.
I think Perfection looked bad by kicking him off personally. Yes. But
it's very, very clever how you set it up so that he would look bad.
I did no such thing. How dare you?
I don't mean to out you.
I did nothing that Jerry Springer wouldn't have done.
Hey, that's a good rule to live by. It's not what would Jesus do, what would Jerry do?
Exactly. They're both Jewish. I think it's okay, right?
Is he really?
Jerry Springer?
He's Jewish?
Come on. That guy. No, you're not doing this right now.
Is he really? Is Jerry Springer Jewish?
Is it just a picture of his nose or anything? Okay. His parents, crazy. Margot and Richard Springer, were Jewish refugees. Yeah, of course he's Jewish.
What do you mean, of course? Because he's in media? Are you implying something?
No. Just look at him. I don't know if that's worse.
I'm making you say things you're gonna regret.
I regret nothing. I looked years ago and found out that he was Jewish because it seemed like it. I don't know. I think I think I looked to see if his last name was actually Springer or if that was a stage name.
Like Leibowitz and
right, something like that. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, this explains a lot. Jerry Springer has been my idol since I was a young boy, and now I understand my undying love and allegiance to the nation of Israel. It all makes sense now. It's been subliminal.
Of course. Without Israel, where would we be? That's the real question.
Exactly. We'd be in the Stone Age.
I have to be careful because I have been accused of being an alt-right Nazi white supremacist by Shane Holmberg. Or not accused. He just put me in the same tweet saying that that's what something that Nazis do. Doesn't that remind you of Nick Rekieta? Which is, of course, the very subtle dog whistling of the left. But
it's the weakest. Like Colin, the word Nazi has been completely emasculated. There is no meaning to that word anymore. You talk to a historian about Nazis, and they're like, "Do you mean like the NSDAP?" Because I don't think the word Nazi has a dictionary definition anymore.
Yeah, I don't. It would just be National Socialist, right, or member of the German National Socialist Party, I guess. I don't know.
So you're a Nazi because you support Vic? Is that the gist?
I'm a Nazi because I tell people not to harass other people, and then some people do. Which is apparently what Nazis did. Apparently Nazis said, "Don't attack the Jews," and then a bunch of Germans were like, "Ah ha ha!"
Yeah. That was my favorite Hitler speech when Hitler advocated nonviolent revolution.
Right. Yeah. Hitler was like, "We will not attack the Jews," and then the other Germans were like, "Aha! He wants us to attack the Jews. We will create Schusterful and go after the Jews." What weird planet are these people from? I just don't get it. I don't get it. But whatever. So I have to be very careful talking about the great nation of Israel and the great Jewish icons like Jerry Seinfeld and Jerry Springer. Right.
Jerry Springer is one of the greatest. I just figured out he's Jewish, and I already put him at like the tippy top. He's one of my favorites.
he just zoomed right ahead of.
Yeah, immediately.
He sprung to the top. That's a dad joke. That's a dad joke. That's a dad. Sorry, I don't mean to do that. But yeah, so Perfection comes on the show, and now I suggested that he change his ways. Because I said, you're trying to punch up, which a lot of people try and punch up. That's a very common strategy to attract an audience. You call out or be critical of some industry or some group, you know, and then people are like, hey, I agree with this guy, and then you build up your audience that way, right? Makes sense. But he wasn't successfully doing it, and he was probably making up a bunch of lies. Like, you know, he was kind of lying about some people I know, and this guy Geekdom that he goes after is a huge Dragon Ball YouTube guy, and apparently he lies about Geekdom constantly, like real defamatory lies and bad stuff. Like he says that Geekdom cheated on his wife. He said that Geekdom paid like women for sex while he was married. Some things that are apparently are not true at all.
Well, those are defamatory, like
Legally
in
defamatory.
yeah, you can't accuse somebody of doing that.
Right. And the problem, of course, is that does this guy have anything to take, or are you going to spend
To perfection? No,
yeah,
no,
are you going to spend $50,000-$60,000 to get you'll nothing out of it?
you'll get the intellectual property rights to all of his hentai.
Oh, so
you'll get the IP to his green Dragon Ball character.
yeah, so it's you know, that's the advantage of the internet, is that people with nothing to lose can go out and say, like Shane can go out and say all sorts of stupid things, and people know that they can't really go after them because
Tell me about it. If you go to I swear to God, this is true. If you go down to the bottom of the Kiwi Farms and you go to the help page, and you go to the removing content section of the help page, I say in the section defamation, before you even waste my time with your frivolous legal issues, keep in mind these points. I say we are protected by 47 USC section 230. I will never surrender any information unless I'm subpoenaed. And 3, I am an insane person on the internet with no assets. There is nothing you can take from me. And so far that has worked, except for the mountain Jews who adhere to no logical reason whatsoever.
you know, they're appealing their ethics complaint against me.
Yeah.
That's great.
Are they?
Yeah, they actually did the paperwork to do the appeal. And so it got assigned to a case manager. I haven't heard anything about it in a long time. I'm waiting. It should be about up. I think they get another 30 or 60 days to review it. But the best part is I know that guy has to watch that video now. So
you
yeah,
might have a new fan. You might have a new fan watching us right now.
I hope so. I hope so. Hey, if you're out there, buddy, if you're the guy doing my ethics complaint case, peace. Love to have you as an audience member. Would love to have you as a guest sometime if you ever want to talk about things and your ridiculous job of having to field all these crazy complaints. That would be a blast. So certainly look me up. I mean, of course, after you issue the ruling, and if you determine that I've violated ethics or whatever, well then screw you. I'm gonna contest that, and that won't be pretty either. But I assume that there's no ethical violation because I'm not an idiot and I know the rules about what I can say and can't say. But you know, I could always be wrong, I guess.
Never know.
But yeah, so they're Melinda and co are certainly appealing.
Is it written in pen? Is the appeal printed, written in pen, and mailed?
I don't remember.
That's my favorite thing that she does.
I could look and see. Yeah,
I guarantee you, it's written in pen.
It could be.
She. Okay, if you don't know, there is a woman named Melinda Scott, and she lives in the Appalachian Mountains of Virginia, and she subscribes to something called the Hebrew Roots Movement. So when I call them Mountain Jews, it's because she is some weird neo-Jewish sect that is not recognized by any Orthodox sect in Israel. She's actually been denied, I'm pretty sure she's been denied like Israeli passport status in Israel because the rabbinic courts refuse to recognize her sect of Judaism. And she has attempted to sue me 5 different times. And I've never responded to any of her lawsuits. They are thrown out sua sponte by the court. And like 3 of them have been thrown out by the same judge, the same federal judge, Jones P. or John P. Jones or something. And he writes these fantastic detailed responses explaining exactly what she's doing wrong every time. And every time she resubmits, she makes the exact same fundamental error, which is that she fails to state a claim. She fails to state what law I broke, how I broke it, and how she is entitled to remedies based on that. He has explained this to her 3 different times in a way a child could understand, and she does not correct herself and continues to go on this warpath. And when Nick speaks out, has allowed me on his program to laugh at this with him, this exact same thing, because it's been going on for years. She filed another complaint with his ethics board to say that he has somehow violated her rights because she can't figure out how to file a lawsuit in 5 different attempts.
Well, I gave
So
her very offensive advice. I said, you should get a lawyer if you want to file a proper complaint.
God. There is a, before my channel got deleted, she responded because I made a video laughing at her 5th attempt, and she commented and went on this whole spiel, and I captured all of it and it's in their thread on the forum. But she basically says that she can't get a lawyer because she doesn't have money. And I say your consultations are free. She says I can't get a free consultation because I have kids. You can bring your kids. And she says, well, you don't understand how busy I am. Well, you find time to go to the court to file this nonsense. You obviously have time to go and get a free consultation. And she just says, it's not, I'm an aspiring law student. And I said, aspiring law student means absolutely nothing because you haven't even started law school. It just means you want to. I'm an aspiring law student. That doesn't mean anything. And then she says, well, you shouldn't make fun of me because I've shown a lot more restraint by not killing you, like some people would have. I'm like, well, if you're an aspiring law student, I'm not a lawyer, but I can probably tell you that's not a good idea to tell people that you want to kill them. just a word of advice. And then she deleted all her comments, and I haven't heard from her since.
Yeah, so, it's here it is.
Story of the Mountain Jews.
I have it pulled up here, but basically, long story short, no, this was typed up, so it's not in.
Oh my God, she's evolving. I better watch my ass.
She does sign it in pen, but a JD is not issued as a title for absolute immunity in order to promote sexist and racist agendas. What is my ask me about my racist agenda, right? Like the.
She's probably saying that you hate her because she's Jewish, even though she's not recognized as Jewish by literally any Jewish person in the world.
He openly states that I've had too many husbands, even suggesting at one point that I may have been married up to even 12, 30, or 40 times. I can't do it. But yeah, so that's the she wanted to clarify some things that were omitted in the original letter that she got back from the Professional Responsibility Board.
That next sentence, though, there is nothing ethical or professional about his conduct, which he does in an official capacity. It's like she's frustrated. She wants things to go her way. She reads something. She understands what those words mean. She understands how they would apply to her case, and then just force, like a child. I just imagine her as like a toddler with like a square brick, and she is pounding that square brick into that round hole, saying, this is what this actually means. And if I say it enough times redundantly in the same document, they will agree with me. And that's all that will ever matter, is making that one person agree with me.
Yep.
And it's so frustrating reading it, because it's like you're not as smart as you think you are. You're not going to fool anybody. You're not going to break the court system under your sheer determination. She probably read the same goddamn quote that's in this guy's email signature about how if you just will it enough, if you have enough attitude and motivation, you can do whatever you want.
That's what the Care Bears said too. Where there's a will, there's a way.
The Care Bears is also my personal Jewish influence.
are the Care Bears? So is it Grumpy Bear Goldstein? Is that what?
Oh no!
Funshine Bear Greenberg? Like what is this? What is this?
Which one is Springer? Isn't one? Doesn't one literally have like a spring-shaped antenna? I'm gonna guess that one is the Springer.
Yeah, that's the one who figures out which
drama show,
which bear is sleeping with Grumpy Bear while which one's molesting him while he's asleep. And
And
then,
then he gets money under the table to make it go away. That's
well,
how it
I
happens.
think Grumpy Bear actually likes it and proposes to marry him
Oh
live on the show.
no,
That's how that would work out, probably.
this is off
Uh,
the rails.
let me do a couple more chats. Tennessee Marine, thanks for the donation. Matt Field says, "Lol, Loretta Lynch is throwing James Comey under the bus. Perjury accusation in the Clinton email investigation. The rats are starting to run out of their holes, scampering towards the light, saving their I don't know what accents are on the S's, but saving their butts, disloyal cucks." Sherry Abel says, "Josh, please tell M she does good work. I used to be a state investigator in Texas and her deductions were very good. Nick, a big thank you to you because of listening to you and Ty, my 18-year-old wants to go to law school." Well, I don't know if you should thank me for that. You haven't gotten the bill yet. But no, best wishes to your kid in their endeavor. If there's anything I can do or advice I can help with, please don't hesitate to reach out to me by email. Happy to answer those questions when I see them. Octorian says, "That moment when you realize why a mutual protective order actually makes sense." Well, I mean, but they don't want it. They don't want it protected. Just remember that. Over and over again, they have said they don't want it protected. Actually, in fact, Ron Toye replied to me while this show was going, and he said, "So why would they be concerned we would leak his deposition, smiley face, or wink face? If his own word would be extremely difficult, lol. We haven't gone on video, YouTube, or other streaming options to talk about the details of things that would come out in discovery. Let's say emails, messages, texts, and more. We want everyone to see the truth, and for some reason they don't. Wonder why, smiley face."
Okay, sum that up in a single sentence for me, because I'm a little bit lost.
Well, Ron Toy is basically saying, they're responding to me saying, talking about disclosure of these texts. And he's basically saying, this last one, the last sentence, we want everyone to see the truth, and for some reason they don't. He's referencing that Ty and Vic, Vic through Ty, requested a protective order, a mutual protective order, which is actually fairly common in defamation litigation, a mutual protective order on the depositions, so that basically they take the depositions and then there's a protective order on any of the information in the depositions that they're not putting into a motion or other document. So
it's the stuff they deem irrelevant. They just scrape off the table.
Right, because it could have identifying information. You can ask any question in deposition, right? You can ask any question that you want in deposition, like what they could ask, Mr. Toye, when, how often does Monica Rial make you watch her sleeping with someone else, right? For example, they could flat out ask about cuckoldry, even though it's not relevant to the case. And ultimately in deposition, you kind of have to answer the question. You can make an objection to it, but you have to answer the question. So
plead the fifth?
No, this isn't a criminal case. There is no Fifth Amendment protection.
What? Really?
You could, if they were asking you to admit to a criminal act, you could maybe argue that the statement would, implicate you. But it's not the state forcing you to do it. It's the other lawyer asking the question. So, there is Fifth Amendment protection. I shouldn't understate this. There is Fifth Amendment protection in deposition, but only for criminal acts, right? Criminal acts that are within the statute of limitation that you could be prosecuted for based on the statement you're given. Fifth Amendment protection is actually pretty limited and very specific.
There are so many things that I just assume is constitutionally protected, like not being compelled to give testimony. Like that's just not. It actually surprises me how much power certain elements of the court actually have. You just never think about it.
Yeah. Well, the Fifth Amendment, here's like a really crazy one. If you give someone immunity, right, and they cannot be prosecuted for their acts, they no longer have a Fifth Amendment right to deny or to not answer. So
that's crazy. That's like video game logic almost, where it's like certain rules change and then it's wild.
Imagine if you gave someone immunity as like they're maybe they're an accused pedophile, right? and you give them immunity on their pedophilic acts because you want their testimony on someone else. Like, say someone with a private island that flies in celebrities to sleep with
Yeah,
kids.
yeah.
Now,
You want testimony saying that they've seen it and they know all the names of all the other people, like in this cult or something, right?
right, so you offer them immunity on their own pedophilia, but then you ask them about it and they have to answer under oath, and they don't get a Fifth Amendment protection, but they do have to basically slag their own name through the mud, especially if you can prove that they perjured themselves in that testimony by lying about it. So if you give them immunity, you could then ask them to publicly announce that they've engaged in illegal pedophilia.
That's funny because it's like, okay, you're trading your it's like a trade. You're trading your Fifth Amendment protections from to be immune from a crime, but then also in some way like slave to the state in terms of what it wants from you in exchange for that immunity. It's very strange.
Very mafia-esque, right?
Yeah, it's like a what's the saying, like a pound of flesh? It's a pound of flesh, a quart of blood.
That's more than a pound of flesh on that
Yeah,
one.
it's a lot.
But yeah, it's pretty interesting. But yeah, in civil cases, these aren't criminal acts. They're unlawful because they're civil liability. But no, you could. I mean, what's illegal about being a cuck? Nothing.
You would just think that you could not have somebody compel that information from you. So, which is why it's probably a good idea to enter into a mutual whatever it's
Right,
called.
a mutual protective order makes a lot of sense. Now, if they don't get it, they don't get it. That's fine. But it's funny that they really want things to be private and they really want things to be against the rules to disclose, but then they don't want things to be private when they think it's going to suit them. So, good luck, I guess, with that logic.
I mean, if they don't get it, then the deposition is basically the questioning. There's like,
I'm sorry. Could you re-ask that?
I'm trying to define this vocabulary word. So a deposition would be somebody comes into a room and they ask questions and they record it and that becomes public information.
Yeah, a deposition is testimony given under oath, but outside of the court. So it's part of discovery. You get a limited amount of deposition hours that you can use. So like if I were to sue you, I would have the right to depose you in most jurisdictions for at least for 6 hours. I could come in and I could ask you anything.
Yeah, that sounds like a load of fun.
They're really, really uncomfortable. Especially,
I see why people say we're gonna have fun in discovery now, because that's the opposite of fun. That's the antithesis of fun.
Yeah, so you can ask about anything. And depositions are part of the public record unless there's a protective order. There's nothing. They're filmed oftentimes. Like Alex Jones's deposition was released, in his Newtown, Connecticut thing. And Alex Jones's deposition was released. We know there's no problem with releasing a deposition. It could have only come from the lawyer who released it. But yeah, so depositions are public. You can actually use depositions of public figures to leverage your position against a state or a municipal government entity. Because like you could in theory, like let's say you're suing the mayor of your town, right? For some legitimate thing, you could depose them on public access and then ask them about infidelity and other stuff like that. And that could be a way to leverage your position against a government entity to get a settlement.
Well, isn't there? This is a way off topic, but didn't something like that happen with Michael Jackson, where people took advantage of? They had to get like nude photos of him or something. Yes. And then they discovered that the photos didn't even match, but that the fear of that being released in and of itself compelled him to settle for 20 million or something.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the fear of the release of them, because he did allow them to take all the photos. But yeah, I think the settlement was, Razorfist's a really good person to ask about it, because he knows a lot about the case and has read way more than I have. But I'm pretty sure his conclusion is that the settlement was a business decision, may have been paid for by Sony Insurance Company, and it was under the thinking of, if we just get this out of the way, Michael can make that back in a couple days on tour.
Yeah.
And it's really not a big deal. to go ahead and pay out this 20 million, and then this problem will go away. And of course, it was the beginning of feeding the vultures. So more and more people came after that money. But yeah, it's deposition's a powerful tool, and there is, there's a lot you can do with a deposition that people might not want out there, including their address, their address, their birthday, where they went to high school. You've got to lay the foundation for who you're talking to. And a lot of times that's just a general get to know you. How long have you known your spouse or your partner, or your whatever? Why aren't you married? Would be an interesting question for Monica and Ron. Like if I were asking questions, not in a hostile way, but you've been engaged a long time. Why aren't you married? That's a weird question to have to answer under oath to someone who doesn't care whether or not you're married.
Yeah. And if the answer is like money related, then you get a feel for their financial capacity entering into a lawsuit.
Yeah, that's and you can definitely ask questions related to people's financial status because it's relevant to the suit.
Because it's especially relevant if it's a contract interference like this. Somebody might have financial motivations to want to screw somebody over.
Yeah, and it's almost like they talked about them in their own stupid text messages. But well, what do you do? I like the Spike Man says Mountain Jews, huh? Ararat or Sinai?
Oh, Appalachian.
What is that, like the Mormon of Jews, like the the Appalachian Mountain?
It's like the Scientologists of Jews.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's weird. And somebody brought this up. I think it was in a super chat, but they brought up the Ethiopian Jews. They're called the Beta Israelites, and they exist. They're very very old. They're not looked upon well by the Israelites.
No, they never were. That's actually in the Bible. In the Bible. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know why I know this. It's because I play too much Europa Universalis. I know that there is Jews in Ethiopia, and they've been there a long time, and they're still there.
Yeah, well, whatchamacallit? Philip in Acts is walking, and he is walking along, and he sees like a carriage or something, a cart or a donkey or whatever, and there's an Ethiopian in there reading a scroll. I think the scroll is like Isaiah. It's one of the prophets, and he goes up to this guy, and the guy's like, well, they turned me away at the temple, but I'm trying to read this thing. Can you help me out? And Philip's like, yeah, I got you, fam, and starts reading to him. It was about baptism, and then he goes, this is interesting from a Christian standpoint. It's the first baptism in the Bible after Jesus that is talked about. And he's like, why can't I be baptized, right? Like, why wouldn't they baptize me at the temple? And Philip's like, I don't know. There's a pond over there. Let's go do it. And it's part of the basis for like the believers' baptism that Protestants use now. Is that?
And it was a black Beta Israelite from Ethiopia.
It was. They don't say specifically. It was an Ethiopian, I believe, a eunuch, as well, who is the first baptized person in the New Testament after Jesus. So it's in Acts again. I think it's Acts 4 or something like that. But yeah, so he goes through and he baptizes this guy, and then like God teleports him away. I'm not even kidding. It's this weird like part of the text. But yeah, so that's how that goes. And you get the impression that he was the servant of someone else, some Ethiopian royalty who had sent him.
I don't know. It seems like the point of the story would be to show that all people, even weirdo Ethiopian eunuch slaves, can get baptized, right?
It's a really, really interesting. That's actually why when I was teaching Sunday school at my church, I did a little lesson on it, and about how very interesting it is that in America we have these. We're almost doing like gatekeeping on these rules of baptism or rules of church membership and stuff like that. But I just find it interesting that the first baptism in Acts is done to like one of the lowest classes you can imagine.
Yeah, one of the lowest possible people in that society.
An Ethiopian eunuch who's implied to be a slave of someone else, and yeah,
How very wholesome.
and Philip, of course, is an interesting character because he's not a Greek Jew. So I think he is a Greek Jew. Yeah, he is a Greek Jew, whereas the others are Hebrew Jews. And so Philip kind of gets the crap jobs, whereas guys like Peter, guys like Peter and stuff are more highly regarded. They sit around their little community and kind of make the rules and run the early church, whereas Philip is like out kind of itinerant
out in
and
the
walking
boonies.
around. Yeah, it's weird. So I like it because I like talking about the power, and so of course it's funny because like, is that then an official position of the early church, or is that just Philip being like,
that's just Philip being a weirdo?
Yeah, well, I don't see why we can't throw you in the water, buddy. So anyway, this
normally we don't, but I can bend the rules.
This got way off the rails.
It's very interesting. I'm sure that guy is fuming that his very intelligent retort to your statement regarding openness has sidetracked to this conversation about Unix.
Sorry. Let's see. David Z says MLB said that you hypnotize your audience into giving you money. This is true. You hypnotized us with a great show and facts. MLB called Lost Paws a pedo, but nothing, not cool. Noble did nothing to you. Thanks. I guess do I hypnotize my audience? If I had that, maybe I borrowed those wicked Jew powers from the Mountain Jews to do that.
If that was the case, you'd be losing money.
No, that's a weird one. There are, that was one of Perfection's complaints, is that people pay me when I do these shows, and I appreciate it very much that people do.
I have very, very mixed feelings regarding super chats and how that affects broadcasts and stuff, what kind of influence that has on the mentality of the streamer. But really, like when I got demonetized on YouTube, it's like a punch in the gut, because you go from having a really strong incentive to get up there and be happy. You're having fun, and you're having fun because you're earning money. It's mental stimulus. It makes you happy to be there. And then I was fine doing it before. It's kind of weird. You're fine doing it before. You're having fun because it's a new thing. Then the money comes and you're having a lot of fun because it's like subsidized entertainment that gives back, and then it gets taken away, and it's like it really deflates it. It really deflates the fun of it once it gets taken away, because you get accustomed to it. So I don't think there's anything wrong. Like, it's what you would want. You would want people to be profiting off of
capitalism's good. Capitalism is a good. I mean, capitalism can be used for bad, but it's a good. It can be used in a good way. And entertainment is was it you who asked me how much Jerry Springer was worth the other day?
Yes. I said you would be a good stand-in for Jerry Springer, and then I looked it up, and he was worth like $60 million.
Yeah, we pay an absurd amount of money for entertainment. It's great. That's where capitalism definitely, like, no matter what question you have about anything else, capitalism belongs in entertainment, because the market should decide what the market wants to see. And what I love about YouTube and all of these like emerging platforms is it gives everybody access to that market. We get rid of many of the gatekeepers. There's still some, obviously, but many of them, and you don't have to have such broad audiences to get people to help you out and do a show, right? It's cool.
No, and Bernie Sanders said something recently, like how if we can afford to give baseball players millions of dollars, we can afford to give our teachers the money they deserve. It's like, you have like 12 teams or something, and they each have a finite number of players, and millions of people watch those people play games.
No matter how.
Oh,
go ahead.
There are teachers. Anybody can be a teacher, not necessarily a good one. I could be a teacher. I'd probably be a great teacher, to be honest with you, but that defeats my metaphor or analogy. It's like, if you have a high school education, you can theoretically teach high school curriculum. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's well, and the no matter how deep your bullpen is, there's 87,000 schools, public and private, in the U.S.
Yeah.
And there's 30, 20, 30, 40, even 40 MLB teams with 50 players each. Doesn't even come close to the number. It's one of those, it's the CEO problem, right? Well, if the CEO didn't make so much money, then all the 30,000 employees would have. It's like if you took every dollar of the CEO's salary and split it evenly amongst the employees, everybody gets $18 or whatever. It's yeah, and teachers sure are important. The problem is we stopped paying for schools. You want high paid teachers, you go to look at expensive private schools.
You go to a private school where they get compensated for their master's degree in education.
Yeah, you'll find them. You'll find my mom used to do mortgages, and back in the 80s, and she would 80s and 90s, and she would do these private school loans to private school teachers who are making $90,000, $150,000. You know, depending on their expertise.
I have to interrupt you because, okay, I don't want to call anybody out, but Mary Poppins says Josh is garbage. And then immediately after, like 5 seconds later, Seymour Butts gives 20 and says Null is my favorite guest. I'm getting mixed messages here. I'm very bipolar.
Well,
I always feel like I get bipolar reactions.
Well, of course. It's good to be polarizing.
It's frustrating because you want people to enjoy stuff, but at the same time, it's like you can't make everybody happy.
I get almost no complaints when you're on a stream. I'm probably gonna get a bunch now, but I get a
tempted fate.
I got a bunch of complaints when Cody was on the stream.
Is Cody the guy that did the thing for like 2 hours?
Yeah, he went on a really long rant. I think he got I think he got in a feedback loop.
I called him a soy tornado and he laughed.
Well, it was funny, to be fair. I like Cody, but yeah, I think I feel bad because I probably should have stopped his rant a little bit.
Around the 5th time it was starting up again.
But each time, to be fair, I thought he was about done. Because he's summarizing it over and over, and I was like, okay, he's gonna wrap up.
You could have picked a point to stop at any time. You could have just stopped talking at any second, and you would have had the same impact or better.
Yeah, I think he got really wound up, and it's part of the timing because he had asked me to come on the show probably a week and a half before that, so he'd been stewing on it and thinking about it too. And I think he just got wrapped up in it, and I actually feel bad because I agree kind of with some of his points. I don't know that they're as
whatever point he was making was completely and totally annihilated by the delivery of the point.
Right.
There's a saying by my man William Shakespeare about brevity being the soul of wit. You have to wrap that shit up. You have to summarize it.
Exactly. Well, he did over and over again. I'm Justin Y and I post pointless trash. Says I wake up each morning not knowing what happened. I finally understand your scheme. Yeah, it is. It's in the eyes. I got those little spinny things that I see on cartoons. And Declare High says I'm very happy to support you after watching your Big Brain panel from November with Keon and Josh discussing the government murdering citizens. Good. Thank you for doing that. Well, I don't know. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I really wanted to cover tonight. I wanted to do the reveal of the text message sourcing, and let me, for anybody who missed that, it was definitely Ty Beard who gave me those. He did, and it was a direct response to the quote chicken shit filing made by Casey Eric in support of Ronica and Ronica. We'll just leave it at Ronica. That's why you guys wanted this game to be public. It is public, and those texts aren't defamatory. They weren't selectively edited. They weren't edited at all. They were in context, and you can suck it that they're out there. And I'd do it again tomorrow. And if I got a bunch more texts from Ty tomorrow, I'd send all those too. Bite me. There's no rule against it, no protective order. And if you think that model ABA rule is going to save you, it's not. It's not. So,
it's model ABA.
the Model American Bar Association rules of professional conduct. It's the
Oh.
they put out their idea of what the rules should be, and then states, write their own and adopt them. They're pretty similar. They're pretty similar.
Who are they trying to get things against now? Like against
Ty,
Ty Beard
it'd be
for
Ty.
giving information that's going to be made public to the proceedings?
Yes.
Oh my God!
And information that is 100% admissible. It's a party statement.
These people can never win, so they just complain loudly.
Oh yeah, and that's been their whole thing. They, defamation cases used to be hard. They used to be hard to win. They get significantly less difficult when you just write the defamation and tortious interference down, publish it, send it to someone, and then when it comes out, you authenticate it. I mean, it gets really, really easy to show at least a prima facie case of defamation, tortious interference. What's funny about that is that they may have, by Ron Toye admitting to those tweets, they may have defeated their own anti-slap motion just with that. Just with that.
I mean, you've been saying this for months now. You think they would have, it's not like they didn't have a heads up.
I've told them every step of the way what's happening. Every single step. And I told them the way out. I told them how much danger they're in of a lawsuit. I told them to get a lawyer. I told them to shut up. I told them they should probably call Ty and talk about settling. I told them when Vic had a lawyer. I told them they were getting sued. None of them have believed a single... I'm Cassandra, right? In the Iliad. I'm telling you the future, but no one will believe me. No matter how right I am, everyone refuses to believe it. Over and over again. If they would have only listened to Cassandra, they would have won the Trojan War. The Trojans would have won, but they never could.
You should be more like Nero, playing the fiddle while Rome burns.
Yeah,
that's a better one.
No, I kind of like being Cassandra because I can say, "See, you stupid idiots! I told you how to avoid this." And they would have defeated me outright if they would have just listened right away.
Then people would be mad because they took your advice. Like, you idiot! Why would you tell them this?
Yeah, but if they took my advice, they would have shut up. There would have been no content, and this probably would have happened kind of quietly.
Yeah, you'd be following some other, you haven't done you used to do series where you would follow the ongoing litigation of multiple things and do small updates on it.
I do have some we've kind of been in a lull, but Alex Jones had a filing very recently in his lawsuit against Pepe.
I feel so bad for Alex Jones. Leave him alone.
This is interesting because both parties moved for summary judgment, and both parties' petitions were granted in part and denied in part. So the judge did take several of the claims of each side off the table. I think it's pretty devastating to Matt Fury, actually, because the judge said there's no statutory damages. And there's no attorney's fees, which takes away.
Who's suing? Matt?
What? You didn't know about this? This has been going on.
Matt Fury is suing Alex Jones.
He has been for a year for copyright infringement of Pepe.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
that's funny.
So because Jones did that 1776 poster or whatever with all of the alt-right, the Trump supporters, right? You got Milo Yiannopoulos, you've got Donald Trump, you've got what's her face, Ann Coulter, you've got Paul Joseph Watson, I think. You got a lot of these faces on a poster. It's in red and black or whatever, and Pepe is on there, and Matt Fury sued Alex Jones.
The 4chan rendition and not the original character from the book from 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, it's just a Pepe face, and it's in red and black. Again, it's not in green. And he's up there, and so Matt Fury sued Alex Jones for copyright infringement.
I hate that guy.
And which is funny because, of course, Matt Fury has said over and over that everybody can use it and all that stuff, but that's technically not an actual license. They have to be written for copyright. But even so, I think it's arguably fair use. I think it's definitely fair use. And
I would say that the current implementation of Pepe the Frog in pop culture is one of the most staunch instances of fair use imaginable ever in recorded history, not just recent history, in recorded history. That concept of that stupid frog saying "feels good, man," is now so far devoid from its original concept that it's not even like one step away from it. That whatever Alex Jones is using is like 20 steps away, because not only has Alex Jones tweeted it, but the president of the United States of America has tweeted a Pepe the Frog meme. So
Yeah.
how the fucking Matt Fury say that he holds exclusive, not irrevocable rights to this character
Yeah.
that is so warped and bent from his shitty little book?
And he definitely owns rights to the books that he published and
Oh,
copyrighted.
sure.
But that's not how this works, right? Like people do character art all the time. People sell character art all the time, and it's not a simple question. But no one looking at the poster sold by Alex Jones is like, you know what? Now I don't need to read Pepe takes a piss at the urinal, right? Like
No.
no one goes
If
through that thought process.
if you took a little kid, a little Zoomer who uses the internet right now, he's like 15 years old, he sees Pepe all the time, he knows some of the drama around it, and you gave him Matt Fury's book, I don't think it would even occur to him that the character in that book is the same character as in the memes.
Right,
I don't
because
I don't I don't think it would even register in his mind that those are the same things, or that they have a similar uh heritage.
right, it's they're wildly different in substance. The only thing that's, that's similar is the art. The artistic
It,
rendition
it's
of the
like
frog.
technically the same thing. It's like the same character, but not even, because when I think I've never read Matt Fury's book, but when I think of, like, not only when I think of Pepe do I think of, I have a certain emotional imprint of that from his existence to me from years ago, like 2010 years ago. But he like, somebody posted groypers in chat, and groyper is its own thing. Like, somebody has taken Pepe and made him like a very serious looking thing with folded hands, and it's really creepy looking, and it's different from Pepe. And but I mean, is Matt, if Alex Jones tweeted that, would he say that groyper is his own intellectual property because it's based tangential? Like, fuck that guy. Like, what a preposterous claim.
Yeah, it's weird, but there was a big order in that I think I'm going to cover sometime this week. There's a new lawsuit that came out today about it's a esports lawsuit. I don't recognize the name because I don't follow esports, but I got so many DMs about this. Of course, people want me to cover the Pro Jared thing, and I'll probably wait until there's something more concrete about the divorce, because apparently Jim did a stream earlier and talked about now Pro Jared is alleging that his wife had asked for an open marriage and encouraged him to sleep with other people, which would change like the
Never do it. Never ever. If you ever have, if somebody in your life wants an open relationship with you, run. Just get the like.
you
How do
can't you,
people?
you can't divorce yourself. Like for a time you can. Ultimately though, I don't think people can really divorce themselves from what is happening in their own brain chemistry
No,
when they
and
know.
it always starts with a woman wanting to have multiple men, and then the moment that man decides to have another woman, it tears itself in half. The very second that it happens, and I've never seen it the other way around. And I've seen it on the forum multiple times, because I did a stream, and I don't want to say too much about it because that's what got my channel deleted. But I did a stream on three people who were in an open marriage, and it was the exact same thing. She wanted multiple men and a dog, and then one of the guys got a girlfriend, and it fell apart.
And a dog. I mean, tell me, just like she also wanted a dog, not like to
Oh
participate.
yes, they couldn't decide on what breed of dog, and it was a huge marital issue for
It wasn't
them.
a
That
bestiality thing, though.
No, of course not. It was not a
Don't
bestiality
say,
thing,
of
Nick
course not.
Rekieta.
You are from the Kiwi Farms. Don't you dare say, of course not on me.
Of course not, Nick Rekieta. It was not a bestiality thing, I promise.
Oh, come on. No. Why? Why? Yeah, call back the Inquisition. We need them. We need them now.
Oh, it's coming
Uh,
soon. The Weimar Republic is falling before your eyes, Nick.
and oh, there was there's some furry got tagged also again, or like a new
Tagged
one.
like the animal control got them and put a chip.
Yeah, yeah. They're gonna have to have special police divisions for the furry police, right? Where they
Animal control.
yeah.
Hey, I'm for it.
But yeah, it's so I do have other things to cover, and the Vic stuff. It's just interesting because it's still moving as in the preliminary stage, but it's probably really going to slow down very soon. I've got to warn people that at some point these things are going to start taking time. But of course, all of the defendants are getting served at different times, and it's going to stagger their answers and stuff. So there's going to be.
Is it all part of the same lawsuit, or is it like different cases?
Yeah, it's one suit against 4 parties currently. You got Funimation, you've got Monica Rial, Ron Toye, and this other completely irrelevant voice actress named Jamie Markey. And they're the first 4 parties that are sued. It's entirely possible, if not likely, that following discovery, there will be new information that either allows other people to be added to the current suit or sued in a separate action. For example, like Mars Girl, potentially Anime News Network, some other voice actors, like maybe like a Chris Sabat or a Sean Schemmel, were the voices of Vegeta and Goku repeatedly, who have kind of a history of talking about Vic.
From what I understand, it looks like Funimation is already trying to like settle. Is that true?
It's they have had discussions with Beard Harris, Bullock and Hughes. We know that. Let me be clear. I know that there have been discussions only because they have agreed to accept service, and they have some sort of extended service or answer date that is outside of the normal rule. As to what settlement discussions they've had, I don't know exactly where they stand on that. But I think Funimation has, one, they have the most to lose because they can definitely afford to pay a judgment. So 2, they're very important to get off the table because the statement that they made, the tweet that they made about firing Vic and it being after an investigation, all of that was used as fuel by the other people defaming him. And so if they can get a statement from Funimation saying, you know what, we actually will agree to work with Vic in the future. Our termination was not based on the idea that there was sexual assault or sexual harassment. And we would ask that conventions not use any statement made by Funimation as the basis for inviting or not inviting Vic Mignogna. If he could get those like sort of statements made by them, he could settle for probably little to no money. I would say that would be worth more than any money settlement that Funimation would give, because having the accusation from them and their tweets goes a long way to giving people ammunition to say, see, he's a predator. They investigated it. And that investigation is very, very thin. So
if they came out and said something like, our investigation concluded that there was a high probability that this would cause a lot of bullshit for us, and that's why we dropped them, would that be sufficient for his intent, his purposes?
They could simply say something that I strongly suspect have pretty decent evidence for, but can't confirm. So this is speculative, but I believe that there was an organized group of people calling for Vic to be terminated. And then
basically endorse his case and then get out, right?
I think they were calling for him to be terminated. Inside voice actors who were calling for him to be terminated, and that the investigation was a pretext for the termination. Whether or not the investigation actually found anything, I find highly, highly unlikely. And I think that they just said, well, if we do an investigation though, and then we terminate him, it looks a little bit stronger. But it's in Texas, they didn't have to. But, companies do that type of stuff. There's some indications of that because the investigation was conducted by an executive at Sony, an executive in the HR department. It was done in 3 days. The 3 stories that they investigated are absolutely innocuous. And the investigation looks to be, if they concluded anything, it certainly wasn't objectively concluded, because Vic explained all of the stories that were brought up, and pointed out that none of them had any sort of harassment or assaultive context at all, and then they still terminated him. And I mean, we're talking 3 days for a company like Sony that's that big to do an investigation for someone else's employee. It just screams of pretext to me. But what do I know? I don't know.
Yeah, and somebody said he shouldn't settle. Like, no, you want don't settle. Don't be greedy. Yeah, you don't want to.
No,
two
if
hundred
he
thousand dollars for Thai beard is not going to last for a year, for
if
years.
no, it will not. And if Vic wants to work, which I'm pretty sure that's what Vic wants to do, is to work, and that's probably what his fans want to do.
Yeah, just get back on with it.
Yeah, Funimation agreeing to work with him again, or even giving an ambiguous statement that says,
Yeah, the option to work with them again. No promises.
Yeah, if we ever do another Broly thing, we would consider working with Vic Mignogna. There's no main thing. There's no sexual harassment, and other companies and conventions should not take any statement that we made to with the idea that there was some sort of credible sexual allegation against him. He gets that. He wins. I mean, he wins because
the victory condition.
Well, everybody's claims become infinitely less credible the moment the employer says that's not what happened, right?
Well, what happens with the scraps if they do that?
Well,
the weirdos.
They're still getting sued right now. So the worst thing would be for those people, for the Soyes and the Monica Rials, would be that Funimation does that and says, oh, and by the way, we don't really want you to subpoena us, but here's all of the communications that they had regarding this to us. Here you go. Here's all the emails and texts that we got. And then, that buries Monica and Ron. I mean, almost. Ooh, that would likely be bad. Or here's the meeting minutes where they kept bringing it up, or whatever documentation they have.
And then they would be liable for the damages he suffered as a result.
Monica and Ron would, yeah. And Jamie Markey. Any party to those communications. But if Funimation settles it out, they're off the hook. And that'd be a good place to be for Funimation. They don't have protracted litigation.
And then they'd have to be a 6 Bulma.
Yeah, probably. I think there already might be.
Oh God.
because honestly, like, even if they win, look at Asterios, right? Asterios.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say this is reminding me a lot of how the lawsuit went, which I guess is just its name now. It'll be cited in future legal arguments. The lawsuit just quoted.
Exactly.
And instead of by its actual proper name. But in the lawsuit, what happened is the big companies that got wrapped up immediately took precise action to get themselves out as quickly as possible and leave the little people fighting for themselves. And
the moment that Weber Sandwich got out, they fired Asterios. Like, the moment that they were out of litigation, it was dismissed with prejudice added to them. Well, I shouldn't say the moment. I think they may have waited out the 20-day appeal period. He's toast. And even though they won, but you know what? He was an employee who drugged them into a lawsuit that probably cost his annual salary to defend, even though it was only at pretrial. And so Monica dragging Funimation into this lawsuit, especially if there's communications with her beforehand saying, well, even with the investigation, it's iffy, but especially if there's communications beforehand, which I have reason to believe that there may be some sort of stink raised about Vic that didn't work early on, those communications could absolutely sink their case and sink her employment, because those statements and then her personal drive to do all this and to bring it public dragged Funimation into a lawsuit. And here's the best part. They're not employees. They're contract workers, right? So what loyalty does Funimation have to them? Basically zero. And
Asterios is not doing well from what I've heard. I don't know what the full breadth of that situation is, but I don't know. I don't want to say too much and put Dick on the spot, but it seemed like he really expected Dick to help finance the lawsuit more than what Dick did.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what about that is, but there's something weird there because Asterio seems to have
He
stopped
shut
calling in.
down. He disappeared.
Yeah, and he said on like Reddit and stuff that while he's looking for a job, he's not going to go on the Dick Show because it looks bad or something.
Hmm.
And I think he needs to get out of New York personally. It just
Go to
costs too
LA.
much. I wouldn't go there either. I'd go somewhere cheap. His you know,
The backwoods of Minnesota.
he
The
could
guy who's
make
looking for any PR people.
he could make enough money with his online stuff to live in a small town, no problem.
Oh,
He
sure.
has a hard time making enough money doing his online stuff living in New York.
Well,
So,
I'm a complete psychotic person. I live fine. I moved to a foreign country to minimize my personal expenses as low as they possibly can go, and it works so far.
yeah.
You got to think outside the box if you want to survive.
But I don't know. I'm not fully apprised of his situation, but it does. There's something weird that he hasn't really said, and you know,
Yeah.
it's a shame. He's really a nice guy. I like him.
Well, from what Dick said on the show, it seemed like he I think he really expected Dick to foot the bill more because Dick exactly like Weber Shandwick did. He got out like as soon as he could. He got out, and then Asterios was the one. I guess that the only one that the judge found. Uh, he,
The
like
only one
all
the
the other
judge found jurisdiction over.
yes, and all the other people were immediately like removed with prejudice, and Maddox could pursue that. But then he wanted to go ahead with sanctions against Maddox for money that he will never ever see. Maddox has no money; he'll never be able to repay any kind of debt like that. So I don't know. I think the idea was he thought that he would go through and he would be able to get depositions and stuff from Maddox, and that would be worth the money for Dick to fund his lawsuit. But I think Asterios also went with the same lawyer that the Weber Shandwick originally gave for both him and for the company, and he's still keeping that guy on retainer, even though he's a New York very expensive lawyer. And yeah, I don't know. It got really messy and it lost its comedy value, which is why Dick doesn't. I don't think he wants to finance it, which is a frustrating position for everybody involved.
It would have its comedy value if they'd ever get a hearing, but the judge retired. They haven't been
Yes,
assigned a new judge, or they got a new
it got
judge.
it got kicked back to square one, basically.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. It's really a shame because it's so funny. Like in all honesty, that lawsuit is raw comedy, and Maddox getting sanctioned for it, even if he could never pay, would be really it'd be great.
But is it like $30,000 worth of comedy?
No,
Is the
no,
problem?
no. It's absolutely not. And yeah, I think they missed the window on being able to monetize it in that way too. It's just it's it didn't work out right. They got screwed by circumstance a little bit. But I also think, you know, he doesn't really talk about anything. And Asterios is one of those guys who's always hesitant to talk about the lawsuit. Lots of people are like that, but you really can talk a lot about them. And I think the rules about it are changing. Not the social mores about talking about your lawsuits are changing, and we'll really see more people talking about them in public over the next couple of years. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing that always got me about the suit was Maddox didn't say a single word ever to anybody that we saw. Like he complained about Dick passive aggressively, but you wouldn't even know that that person, that online personality, was experiencing a lawsuit because he did not comment on it. He went about like life as usual, as all this clown world shit was happening on the docket, and it's like, how can this possibly be the work of this man? Because he doesn't even seem to be aware that it's happening.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Would you agree with that? That is an accurate assessment of what was happening?
yep, yep. It was he followed the rule of don't talk about it, which was the exact opposite thing to do when you're an internet satirist who gets paid for your comedy.
Because
So
otherwise you might be stuck doing Godzilla versus Podcast Zero.
yeah, or
This
playing
one chick you
Fortnite,
just want to bang. Is he playing Fortnite?
He was. I don't
That
know
is
if he
rock
still is.
bottom. The moment you turn to Twitch live streaming with Fortnite to build an audience, you are at ground zero. You're no better than the 14-year-old Brazilian kid that's like doing it on his crappy computer, and he's like shirtless in his room, and you can just see all these toys and laundry all over the place. Like that's where you're at in terms of internet notoriety.
One of the guys in my Discord would go find Maddox and kill him in Fortnite while he was live streaming.
Oh,
yeah.
No.
It was so funny.
That's rough. He can't
Yeah.
even do that because he's gonna get trolled by dickheads stream sniping him.
Yeah, well, and he wasn't very good at it too. That's the other.
I doubt he's.
Well, whoa, that was weird. My computer made some beeps. That was strange. Am I getting beeped on Discord?
I don't hear it on my side.
I don't know what that was. That was really, really awkward. Okay, well, I need to read the rest of the super chats. So I know it's really late for you, but of course you're invited
it's
to
10 a.m. almost.
You're invited to stay, but if you need to go, I certainly understand. So, but I've got to read through these and then close out the show. So it's up to you.
All right, I'll stay around. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick, and then I'll sit through it.
Okay, I'm gonna start reading.
Okay.
Andrew War Snowboard says the difference between Pro Jared and Ayesha Curry. The difference is I've heard of Pro Jared, I've never heard of Ayesha Curry, and I don't care about either of them. That's the same. Mr. Inflammable says, ding dong, the wizard's dead. Perfection at his channel terminated. Pour some of that Johnny Walker Game of Thrones out for him because that's the most befitting drink. Ooh, ouch. Ouch. Richard Freeman says, perfection account's been terminated. People don't learn. The Nico King says, can't wait for the ball to drop on Ronica. Sakaki Onsai says, on time and celibate. On time and celibate. Mr. Leon says, how dare you be on time. Finn Frog says, Nick, coming at you from a small but firm law office in Sensual, Minnesota. Wait, was there a big donation to Vic's GoFundMe? I'm getting indications that something big just happened. Let me see. Whoa, Antonio. Thank you for your very large donation 2 hours ago. Thanks, buddy. Very impressive. Vic's GoFundMe is at $166,500, which is fantastic. Very, very awesome to see you guys still supporting the GoFundMe, and it is really appreciated. It is really appreciated. Really appreciated. Solo Beverly says, oh, wait, I'll wait till he says that, or till Josh is back to read that.
Hi.
Oh.
What are you going to wait for?
I was waiting for you to be back.
I'm back.
Solo Beverly says, hello, Null. Welcome back to the stream.
Oh, thank you.
Red Ring of Death says, dang it, Boomer, come on. No one important says, you're such a good guy, Nick, giving perfection the benefit of the doubt and giving that good talk. Too bad it didn't sink in and all that transpired. Yorgamund07 says, read faster, Lord. Jim's still streaming and you have to compete. I think he signed to you.
Sure, you were streaming up against Medicare for a little bit.
Well, technically, I think he was streaming up against me. I always stream it. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. At the beginning, our streams overlapped a little bit, but
I think he was wrapping up right around the time you fixed your camera, so it's Gucci.
Yeah. Jim will do what Jim does, but you know, I don't think he was trying to step on toes or anything weird. Tillip says, "Hey, your camera's off." Yeah, thank you. Thanks. says, "How embarrassing." Red Ring of Death says, no, you're having Nick difficulties. Yes, this is back during the camera trouble. Dequarius Walker says, did you see Shane's disgusting tweet about his wife? Yes. Everything Shane has said about his wife is absolutely shameful. And I would never talk about my wife the way he does. What a gross person. Harbinger 34. Did you see that, Josh? Have you seen any of the stuff that Shane says about his wife?
Is this the guy that's been engaged for 5 years, or
no? This is Shane Holmberg. He's Monica and Ron's little lickspittle or whatever, and he's got a thread on your site there, And people pointed out that his wife is like really considerably younger than him. And someone asked him about it, and he said stuff like, "Well, she gives the head. Why do you like women who are so young?" He says the head is great and stuff. And it's like,
You know, that reminds me of when I was in the Philippines, and I want to name names. I've named names before, but for the sake of this, I won't. I met a guy, a very, very influential person in my circle. And first thing he said to me when we met up and we had pizza, everybody in the group had pizza together. And he comes up to me in the parking lot and he tells me that girls from the INC give the best blowjobs because they need money to go to church. And the INC is Iglesia Ni Cristo. It is a massive cult in the Philippines. It's like Scientology there, and they take money from very poor people as ties to the church. And I was just like, that's the worst thing anybody has ever whispered into my ear.
well, yeah, and he said that about his wife, like, which is just,
Yeah,
it just
that
doesn't,
just shows he doesn't have respect for her.
yeah, it
If
just
he's saying that about it.
doesn't belong on the internet. Doesn't belong on the
No.
internet. Harbinger 345 says Shane is hacking till he gets round 2, Nick, and then shoe and then drooling. That's disgusting. Tablet Link says Air Force Mall Cop. So AAFES assigned SP. I don't know what that means. Lil Poo Poo says camera not working. How embarrassing. Yana says arrived late, but it looks like I missed all I missed is boomerang. Yes, that's true. Low tier Gordo says, hey, or here, Nick, buy a Monster Zero Ultra and refuel. I don't drink Monster energy drinks. Austin Heartless says, how in boomerang. Talonseer says, the machine spirits rebel against you. The Omnissiah is not pleased. Apply more unguent, light more incense, and pray harder. Forever229 says, reboot, you boomer. Carapapa says, Jim is streaming too. It's just like Sophie's Choice. Sakagi Onsai says, welcome to Tech Talk with Nick the Boomer Rekieta. Jamal Breezy. Nick, you probably can't say this, but you're my N-word. Keep up the good work. Lukewarm Humor says, someone on Twitter said I look like Shane today. Are you willing to represent me in the defamation case before I Minecraft myself? Let's set up an estate plan first. Let's get the estate plan out of the way before the defamation case. Vicious MGTOW says, praise the Omnissiah. Keldeo the Horse says, can I get a D in chat for Perfection's channel? Also, will there be a Phoenix Wright stream tonight? No. Shout out to Sean Ranklin. Big ups, Liquid Richard.
Do you know what that's a reference to?
No.
It's oh god, to make it very, very short, there is a video game streamer who is super, super fat, and his detractor circle made rap songs featuring quotes from him. And the big trolls were Liquid Richard and Sean Ranklin, and they took sound bites of him saying their names in every song. It's like a tag from a rap song. It's like, shout out Sean Ranklin, big ups Liquid Richard. And
yeah,
it's very weird that he would super chat to you that, because you would have no idea what that is. It's this weird Batman joke.
Yep. I got nothing, but I'll take it. Prince Halio is a friend of mine. A friend of mine met Vic at the Comic-Con in Puerto Rico. Still has good things to say about the man. Yeah, well, that's because he seems to be a good man. Asphyxiation says, pay Jim for referring David. Also show toes, Nick. Underscore says, I bet Monica's bodyguard studied Shaq Fu. Zarindu says, have some shekels from the Democratic People's Republic of New Zealand. Thanks, Null, for putting my country in its place. Australia's sidecar.
Oh, dude, New Zealand's reaction has been so bad. I don't want to dwell on it, but it's just like, it was on my list. I was going to go there. I had this plan. I was going to go there. I was going to go to a kiwi preservation. I was going to hold a kiwi in my arms and I was going to pet it. And they were going to take a picture of me. And I would have an artist paint me like a supervillain. You know, the supervillains with their big fluffy white cats that they pet and they look sinister while doing it. I would be doing that with a kiwi, but not fucking happening now because I'm probably arrested if I go to New Zealand.
Could be. Is that have you gotten any ongoing blowback from that? Mine died out really quickly.
Yeah, mine died out too. I got tons and tons and tons and tons of nastiness. Like in the first the days while it was happening, it was huge. It was overwhelming. and then residual people just sending horrible things to me for like 2 weeks, and then after that it's quiet.
I
I
should.
actually sent I
Oh, go.
sent an email to the cop again. I got a little bit drunk on White Russians,
Uh-oh.
and I said something like, I told you so. I told you if you try to censor the internet, you're gonna make a laughing stock of your entire country, and look what's happened. Everybody hates you now because you're such clowns.
Did he
Sincerely, Josh.
did he
No, he's
respond, or
not
did he
responding.
just mail a flashbang to your dog?
I'm waiting on it.
A2P says, never thought I would have beef with a mall donga. He's talking about your mall cop friend. Forever229 says he's not doing any spec warfare ops in the Air Force. I can tell you that for a fact. Blink Your Eyes 1400 says the chair force can do a gay op to save Shane's chair. Also, on a side note, that $2,000 donation is still there, and there's now a $1,000 one. That's awesome. Yeah, that $2,000 donation, I didn't think that would stay. But apparently. Talbot Link says, I'm a USAF veteran, and that dude sounds like a total chair force loser. Tommy E says, my friend Mike Hunt Hurt loves your stream. There you go. Sam X Steel, thanks for the donations. Vicious MGTOW says, praise the Omnissiah, the camera works. Seth Carmelo says, Vic Lasagna is our guy. Don't go eating any and call it Vic, though. That would be a vicious sexual assault against all of Italy. Love you, Nick. Thank you. Sakaki Onsai says, pretty ugly little liars has the chance of being called in. Cue Bill Withers' lovely day, and cheers to Lane PDPT possibly getting fully stripped like painted siding. Elio Vladen, thank you for the donation. James Bays says, has you or your family been a victim of Vic mesothelioma? You're entitled to financial compensation. Cephias Crescent says, whose gravity is larger, Renfamous or Monica? I think Monica's technically. Renfamous's gravity significantly decreased when she blocked everybody. She just couldn't stop misgendering people on Twitter. Null, it was really a shame.
It's like how Pluto and its moon orbit each other just constantly.
Yeah, just stuck in a perpetual dance of death, never to touch. Always at arm length. Jane James, thanks for the donation. Tai Chi Magnus says, hey, Nick, drinking a 21-year-old Hibiki tonight. Would you share a drink with me? Sure, buddy. This is a ways back. I hope you're still around, Tai Chi Magnus, but I'll pour a little more of this really smoky. And this is a really peaty, smoky scotch. It's really good. I'm depressed.
Remember, in Minnesota, you're gonna have to teach me like the art of alcohol, because I just got vodka. They sell vodka here, and you drink it, and you get intoxicated.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. Trust me, but this is different. You can't just flag it down. It's a process. And if you don't take the time with it, you might as well be drinking like $4 vodka or whatever. Eduardo Ramirez says, being serious on 8chan, Nicker, are you serious? What was I being serious on 8chan?
Oh, he was referring to my war with the smug anime women.
Yes, that's right.
He's ridiculing me for my stance against the smug animes. I will not apologize for that.
Angel Ren 89 says, what's the deal with Cody? Why he being a douchebag? I don't know. Cody's being Cody. You'd have to ask him. I don't know or think that he's being a douchebag, but I heard he was talking to people on Twitter and just engaging in some discussion, but I haven't been following. Harbinger 345 says, don't tell the internet not to do something. It'll go out of its way to do exactly what you said not to do out of pure spite, and it's great. Adoaker says, Joshua Connor Moon, may Yahuwah strike you down.
He's trying.
There you go. Oh, wait, is that he who shall not be named? Or is it she?
No. Yeah, Yahuwah is what the Mountain Jews call G-D.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to be Yahweh, but they pronounce it like Mountain Jews.
I only know about Yakub, the white devil or whatever. Finn.
Samurai Jack.
No, Yakub is from before Samurai Jack.
What?
Oh yeah, they mention him in an old Wu-Tang album. I think he's like from like the Islamic movement in the U.S., the Black Islamic movement.
I've never heard of that.
Yakub?
Yeah, no, never.
Oh man, you got to listen to your Old Dirty Bastard albums.
Yeah, I gotta go back to the 90s and partake.
Finn Frog says, I know Frog Fu, aka Hopikaido. Blaine 20 says, I'm deathly afraid of $1 million. Please do not dump $1 million at this abandoned house. Doge Meat says, at Power Switch on Discord can feel your emotions. Okay. Vivian L, thanks for the donation. TLJ Screwjob says, but Ron, quote, can prove it's one of your lies. Benjamin Fuselier says, coming soon to Indiegogo, Outlaw Knights, Cyrus Lawson, Colonial Security finds himself kidnapped by charismatic pirates and forced to survive the race for the ultimate prize. There you go. I'm not sure which race. Asia Fraser says, every time you drink, you should name a food that pairs with your drink so Tug can put it in his cooking show. Entree, dessert, whatever. Gimp Rider 66 says Gal Gadot and Scarjo. I'm not sure what that's a reference to. Elliot Joubert says, I'd kill to see my grandma, the toughest family lawyer in Texas, lawsplain a theoretical property division between Soye and Monica when they get slapped with a huge judgment and it ruins their marriage. Quote, marriage. Goru says, can't file a lawsuit. Hashtag fake Jews. The Texan 83 says, no amount of willpower and can-do attitude is going to allow you to run headfirst through a brick wall. Prove me wrong. Well, you have to have the ability to, and the can-do attitude
it's an engineering triangle.
It's just how well you get through it. Homestead says, personally, I love Mountain Dew Code Red. Jacob Bodmer says, Nick, please cover the Flint versus Falwell deposition. It's a classic. Talbot Link says, there's a Jewish tribe in China. Ran there a few centuries ago. Bonnie says, Nick, I almost think that I hate these people. And then I remember that they are still children of God as well. You don't have to hate them. Just laugh at them. That's okay. Moist John says, when you take off work for a meetup. Good job. Halo Millennium says, would you consider having Lost Paws or Chibi reviews on the show? Be interesting having bigger anime YouTubers on your show as long as they were interested, of course. Yeah, I'd like to get some more takes on this situation. And that's part of the ongoing mission here. Cody Byer. Oh, hey, Cody says, you're absolutely right. I got too wound up and pent up. If I ever start that up again, feel free to shut me up. Will do, buddy. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Ice Baron 2015 says, if Markey defaults, can punitive damages be awarded or will it just be Vic's asking price? No, you still have to prove the damages. But he's got lots of business damages that are out there. 11X says, Null is a top 3 guest. Enter the QB says, so when does the actual juicy discovery start? We're technically starting it now. It's started, but as to documents should be the 30th will be probably some documents popping up. Yeah.
This month?
30th of this month should have some documents popping up. And then
exciting.
I think the discovery date for Monica and Ron is like June 12th or something like that. So we should have some stuff from there too. Eyes of the Wolf 101 says, have you seen Flash gets his furry apocalypse video? Yes, and I love it. Sharky says, under what circumstances could Vic make Monica to publicly retract her statement? Also, why hasn't Funimation decided to settle as of yet? The first one, only under settlement could you force her to publicly retract her statement. And then why hasn't Funimation decided to settle as of yet? I don't know. Hard to say. Moist John says the Dakotas are just outskirts Minnesota, to be honest. Zario JPN says Renfamous went after Count Dankula, facepalm.jpg. I guess that's a good move. If she wants attention.
Yeah, if you're talking about getting laughed at, Dankula is probably a good person to go after because he's just going to laugh at you.
Yeah. Super Captain Chris says, just woke up from a coma and I can't wait to watch my favorite family-friendly YouTuber, Pro Jared. What did I miss? Moist John says, Monster Zero Ultra mixes with vodka well. Tai Chi Magnus says, yeah, buddy, I'm still here. Thank you for the drink. Hey, thank you. Asphyxiation says, also thank you to Null. I met up with Like I Care in Sydney 4 days after my dog passed. You are hosting his beautiful CWC dedication thread. It broke me.
Okay, I don't. I saw that when I came in, and I've been thinking about it ever since because there's a lot to unpack in that. And just to give you the skinny, Like I Care is an admin for Encyclopedia Dramatica. And what he's saying is that he met this guy who is currently banned from the Kiwi farms because they can't take him anymore. He's implying that he met this guy, and then Like I Cared showed him his Christian Weston Chandler dedication thread as they met together. And that thread is literally a picture of his penis and a cum shot over a picture of Chris.
Oh.
So if in my head, I'm sitting here thinking about this, and I'm thinking he must have like pulled that up on his phone and showed him while sitting next to it. Like, yeah, this is my cock, and I came on this picture of a retarded man.
Oh.
That's the only. So I really hope that super chat was worth the 5 AUD because it's pretty dense.
There you go. Cars in Depth says, any comments about the Somali teens in the Twin Cities? YouTube is censoring the super chat. I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't been following news much lately.
So news sucks.
It's really boring.
Laugh at silly people on the internet.
Yeah, I'll have to check. I don't know anything about it. Quietness says, Overlord, why'd you remove the warning that signing up for the farms can kill you?
Okay, there is a warning when registering for the forum saying please exercise basic precautions when you register to the site, because if you get screwed by what you do on the site, like, I can't help you, so you should take it a little bit seriously. And at the bottom, I used to include a note in that warning saying that, oh, you can also die from the site because we're cursed by the Hebrew roots movements, and you might get pestilence and death as a result of joining. I removed that after we migrated to Zen 402, and I had to re-add custom things like that because I figured that there was a chance that people might read that, and because of that last sentence, take the entire thing as a joke. And so I don't want that. So I erred on the side of caution, and I did not reintroduce the Hebrew roots gag, even though it is a pretty phenomenally funny thing to show people when they register.
Well, there you go. Taldeo the Horse says, titty all day, every day. And then we've got a couple on the Streamlabs here. This Poor says, was going to go to bed, got so angry that I had to bust out the bourbon. Probably won't fall asleep till 2 a.m., but by the time you're reading this, I'll probably be absolutely poop-faced. Stuff's getting better says, hello. I just wanted to say that I'm a fan of both your live streams and both of your live streams, and the two of you helped me get through a very hard time in my life. Thank you. I hope you get your YouTube channel back soon, Josh.
Oh, that's never happening. I appealed in Hebrew, and I got a reply in Hebrew basically telling me to eat shit.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, they weren't good brothers and sisters of the cause, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. N says, my mother is a 25 plus year paralegal who has worked for big firms, and the things I've heard you people try to get away with is just astounding. I don't know how she keeps putting up with it. I'd probably go postal based on the stories she's told me. Oh, you're talking about lawyers? Yeah, we're terrible. Let's see. TLJ Screwjob says, hey Josh, Nick, so what is it with Tora-san and other Kick Vic people still saying if Vic admitted to doing these things, he would have been invited back already? Also, Nick is the reason why Vic isn't back yet. Are these people actually mentally deficient? Yes. But okay, so Josh, you give me your read on this. Mm-hmm. These people have accused Vic of sexually assaulting and harassing people at every convention or whatever for the past 10 years, from doing it at work, suggesting that he is so dangerous to be around that they have to hire security and will not go to a show with him there. but they're also simultaneously saying if he would have just apologized for all of the sexual assault and harassment that he did, that he'd be welcome back into the industry. Do you think that's...
I would rather burn than apologize for something I didn't do. That's never gonna happen. Not for me.
Yeah, but let's say you're not you and that you're Dick Masterson. Well, because Dick says an empty apology, that doesn't cost me anything.
Yes, that's true. He's very pragmatic. He's not gonna. He'll run cost-effective analysis on something and do whatever it takes.
Yeah, and I don't want it to sound like I'm saying that Dick would suggest Vic would apologize. I think he's typically talking about different things than something like sexual assault. But let's say you take that approach and you say I can do a free apology. Do you think that would be effective?
No, of course not.
Yeah, I don't.
It's admitting, like, you're admitting to being a sex pest. And in the current entertainment industry, you cannot be a sex pest. You will be routed out and disposed of. Like, the worst thing you could ever possibly do is in any way, shape, or form give it a single inch to any of these people.
Yeah, and the funny thing is he did a pseudo apology that they all cling to as well. And they're like, look, he did apologize for all of these things, even though he said, basically, I'm sorry if anybody was ever offended by an interaction with me. They're like, look, see, he did apologize. But then at the same time, they say, but if he would have just apologized, because this one wasn't good enough and the next one wouldn't be good enough.
Is that the apology where he basically said that he met with somebody and then like they were basically watching Netflix and chill together, and then he made a move and she's like, no, and he's like, oh, okay, I thought you were for it, but I guess not.
Yeah, that's pretty much how all of the stories against him end up. Is he made a move, person wasn't for it, and then he's like, all right, and stops. Because interestingly, no one has accused this man of having sex with them.
That's a funny way to put that.
I mean,
it's like, okay, that used to be called normal. That used to just be how things went. You would try and establish a relationship with someone, and then if they said I'm not into it, you go, oh, okay, I misread the situation, and then life proceeded as normal. And now it's like we will hold that over your head like a antichrist mistletoe for the rest of your life if you ever piss us off or give us financial motivation to screw you over.
Right. That's what these people are leaving out, is that they would have incentive to keep ruining him. But yeah, at any point, someone could come out and say, you know what? He raped me or whatever. No one has accused him of having sex with him. With them. Not a single person, which is stunning to me. He's like, well, he tried and failed. He failed because I said no and then he stopped. Okay, there you go. TLJ Screwjob follows up, says, also, Josh, if anyone would have found anything close to what the defendants are saying, it would have been the farms, right? Because then they would get to laugh at Vic like pro Jared, right? The Frog God Games accuser was doxxed within half an hour, FFS.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's
there's been times where people have put out sob stories and the forum gets all up in a tizzy, and then somebody's like, I don't think this is not working. This story does not work with things we found. I'm trying to think of a specific instance where that's happened. But it escapes me. People don't take sob stories and stuff at face value on the site because we get a lot of it, and if it doesn't match up with reality, then it doesn't match up with reality.
Yeah, I'm getting hold on. My Discord is sending me stuff. What am I Oh, is it because he's been announced for Savannah Comic-Con? Is that what's going on?
Hey, it's still getting work.
Yeah, well, again, as these people find out that these voice actors and their little minions may have just fabricated a whole bunch of stuff that never came to pass. He's here's the really frustrating part about all this, okay? There's this idea fronted by absolutely always wrong virtually, and I mean this lovingly, retarded morons like Shane, who have asserted that Vic has been uninvited from cons and shadow banned and banned from cons for years. There's no evidence of this. There's no evidence that Vic has actually been banned from conventions. I think there's one convention that doesn't invite him because the guy who runs it personally doesn't like him, but all the other conventions invited Vic. To my knowledge, he has never received any indication that he is not invited or banned from any convention except this one particular one, and I don't think he's ever been there. So it's not related to some like activity he did. But either way, they keep running with this narrative that, well, he's been uninvited from conventions for decades and years and blah blah. These conventions actually tend to like Vic because he makes them a fortune when he comes. It's why they.
Well, you know what? I was thinking about this, like yesterday. For some reason, I was thinking about this, and I realized I cannot name a single voice actor in any industry right now except Vic Lasagna, Vic Montana, Vic whatever his name is. He's the only one I know. I recognize his face because he's got his very nice headshot as his Twitter avatar and as the face of your Kick Fund Me page. And I check to see how much that is every so often. So I know what he looks like. I know vaguely what his name is. And he's the only person that I know of who is a voice actor. Because I think is it Monica who is also the Bulma? Is she the Bulma?
Yeah.
So I know her, but is she currently employed as a voice actor in any capacity?
Yeah, actually, she's in several shows.
Okay, so I know of two.
she's prominent, but outside of this, you'd never know she existed.
No.
And I would have I wouldn't either. I wouldn't have known. I mean, I realized after I started covering this that I had seen Vic on a YouTube video one time. I couldn't have identified him and I couldn't have said his name, but I remembered because he was Broly and I saw him do the Broly yell live on a YouTube video. And that just happened to happen about 6 months before this stuff happened. But otherwise I couldn't have, you couldn't have paid me to name him. Couldn't have paid me. But now his face.
Somebody's pointed out that, that Tara Strong, but Tara Strong is also like a director. She makes a lot of stuff.
She's an American. She's an American animation voice actor.
And the only other one is like Morgan Freeman, but Morgan Freeman is so much more than doing voiceovers for Discovery Channel documentaries. Like he is the only person who only does voice acting. Like a name but then you also have like Jim Sterling who does voice acting, but he's not known for that. Vic is the only voice actor who is only a voice actor whose name I actually know for that.
Yep. It's interesting how this is working out for them. I don't think it's going the way they planned. Go ahead.
It highlights so many other problems because now this whole voice actor industry might get like unions protecting each other, like protocols for establishing contact with people to cover each other's asses and stuff. Because other voice actors are thinking, well, how do we cover our asses now? So that
the other voice actors are thinking, including many of his accusers, are thinking, how are we going to get Tail at a convention? These guys go to conventions where there are women who are attractive, dressed in anime style clothes or lack thereof, who like them and would be happy to shack up with them. Routinely, these guys, many of these people, guys and women, are sleeping with fans. I mean, absolutely 100%. And that is outside. I'm not saying it's moral, depending on your
I'll say it's moral.
Well, but some people would suggest
blind going into something blind. There's like a 25% chance at most that you two will like each other. But if they're a fan, it's a 50% chance at most.
Yeah, but
it just makes sense.
The morality thing is, some people would say that extramarital sex is completely immoral. Okay, outside of that,
That's completely different. I thought you
outside-
meant like it's taking advantage of somebody.
No. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about outside of your specific morality involving sex outside of marriage. There's nothing wrong with that very basic adult interaction of going somewhere, meeting someone, having sex with them, and then maybe seeing them again, and maybe not.
It's the only reason I can imagine going to one of these conventions. I've never been, but it's like you're going there as an excuse to meet people with an interest that you also share, like in real life, and not like a chat room.
Yeah, of
You know
course.
what I mean?
Of course. Lots of people look at a furry convention.
Well, furry conventions are just sex. Don't
Yeah.
even try.
Overtly sexual. But no, I think the same thing with pretty much any meetup. You're going to meet people with common interests, and maybe you go home with one, maybe you don't. But I think a lot of the voice actors, voice actresses are going to be looking at this and going, "How do I do that? How do I do that?"
Affirmative consent app.
Yep, you better videotape everything. The Drexel method.
Help.
The Drexel method is have a member of the opposite sex in the room videotaping you. And that's the Drexel way.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting like gambit. Can you accompany us to bed? I need you to film us having sex. This is purely a affirmative consent issue. I need you to bear witness to our consent. This is a feminist thing, and you have to be there to watch.
Yeah,
it's a gambit.
Seems like a good paid position, but I can make like $40 filming this. All right, whatever. Keg7
that has a name.
Keg7 Go says Ron Toye is a misogynistic piece of sexist excrement for blocking my bae books on Twitter. Justice for my bae books. Daniel says, Nick, you ever heard of this website called Kiwi Farms? Word is the guy who runs it can't pronounce words to save his life. Good guy, though. I like him personally.
I'm like a weirdo who never talks to people. So my understanding of language is entirely from written form. So I mispronounce everything because I've never heard it spoken before.
I just can't wait till you have to turn over all the IP addresses to the New Zealand government.
New Zealand police. Oh my god.
TLJ Screwjob says, hey Nick, what does accepting payment of service mean? Does that mean that Soye was lying when he said back in March that he had retained Casey, that he only did the consultation, come see me when you get sued thing, which you told them not to do? I don't know. I don't know what you're referring to here. Joe Nathan Joestar says, confess it, Nick, you're the most elite boomer hacker on the planet. Absolutely. TLJ says, so with Funimation still to this day not denying Soye as an agent or employee of their company, shouldn't Ronica be worried that they'll be sued after the Vic suit for Soye falsifying being an agent? Don't remember the legal term. Yeah, it's possible that they could, but it all depends on how it works out for Funimation first. Joe Nathan Joestar says, I enjoy your Bible talk. Do you ever intend to do a Bible stream? I do. I just have to find the right time.
I'll watch your Bible stream, Nick. You can evangelize your cause to me.
I don't like evangelizing at all. I'm averse to it, and I think that people who think that evangelism is a mission of Christians, I think they got that one wrong personally, but that's me.
Look at you evangelizing.
No. I mean, I guess I'm evangelizing the non-evangelical position. Yes. Schwazoom says Yakub is, no joke, a belief of certain black supremacist groups that Yakub was a black evil scientist with a huge brain that invented white people as some kind of Frankenstein experiment. There you go. That's Yakub for you. TLJ Screwjob says, also Shu Burgermeister said if Monica loses on the defamation cause, she will be invited to more and more cons, and Vic will be invited to less and less. How the hell does that thought even enter husband head? I don't know how anyone would come to that conclusion, but you know, these people are wrong about everything. So what's to stop them from being wrong now? And then there's a couple more. Says, the Meximan and Cheese says, are Mazio and Cooking with Jack trolls? I have no idea. I heard that the bad cooking channels are a thing right now. Have you
Well,
seen?
I know of one very near and dear to my heart, a lovely lady from the Midlands of
Yeah,
England.
Kay, right?
Who was not gifted with the innate ability to prepare food stuff,
But is
but
she
she is.
making bad English food or just English food?
She tries a variety of foodstuffs. It's a lot of it's just like English food, like just like why like okay, here's the one thing that she did a video on. I swear to God, she did a video on this, and it is not just she did it poorly. It is bad food. It is called a crisp sandwich, and it is literally white bread, I think like mayo, and then a bag of potato chips broken up into dust and then sprinkled onto the mayo and then eaten like that. And that it's like a thing that children will eat in England because the Anglos are savages and England is God's least favorite island.
Yeah, that's I think that last statement there is true.
It is true.
It's like
Think of all the islands in the world and then think of one that is less liked by the Lord Almighty than England.
it's
You
like
can't.
no, you could have been a tropical paradise, but instead you're a cold, rainy hell. Um,
Exactly.
let's see. Okay, so I'm Justin Y and I post pointless trash. It says may have seen it, but can you do the chat a solid and pull up Monica Rial gets spanked at a con? They want you to be aware. I have seen it, but let me see if I can. Monica Rial gets spanked. A con. I don't want to watch this video. It's so horrifying. Uh,
I started it up. I saw like the first 3 seconds, and I'm just like, oh, I actually don't want to watch this, and I just paused it and went on.
I need to find. I don't want to bring up this YouTube video covering it. I want the actual video. I know I have it somewhere. Just a second.
People are now correcting me that the island is actually called Great Britain, but that's like an oxymoron. It's like giant dwarf. I refuse to say it. I'm just going to refer colloquially to the entire island as England. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You also have apparently gotten a present in your DMs. Someone is telling me.
On Twitter.
Uh, yeah, I think so. Uh, oh, where is this? God, nope, that's not it. I gotta find this thing. Oh, my Discord probably has it. Um, do any of you guys in my Discord have that video? I'll pull it up in just a second. Uh, that would be lovely. Finding it live is gonna be a pain. Just post it in the general Discord if you could. That'd be very helpful. Okay. Anyway, while we're waiting for that, let me read on here. Um, let's see. Blaine20 says I can't say redneck here. Weird. Snack Sheet says, has Josh seen the Tudor video where he calls and threatens Nick with an ethics complaint?
I think so, unless this was recent.
No,
I saw that like
it was the one a while
it,
back, couple months back, I think.
yeah, I stopped. Like I lost track of time after the shooting. Like all my timelines got messed up. But I remember him being very rambunctious, and it was very nice to see because Tudor is a phenomenally funny, unintentionally funny person.
Yeah,
Um,
he definitely was. He was very mad.
did he actually file a complaint, or did he just email you or yell at you?
No, he like called some people to try and complain. He called the Minnesota Bar, the State Bar Association, to try and complain verbally, but they gave him a link to the form that he had to fill out, and I don't think it happened at that point. So I'm not entirely sure he can read. Is it a he or a she? I don't actually know.
I think it's a she. The way that they describe it is I'm entirely female except for my penis.
Okay. All right. Why?
Because
Okay.
life has to be complicated, and everything that's simple is bad and must be destroyed.
Yeah,
That's why.
everything is just a mess. Okay, I'm trying to find this video still. I'm sorry. Let me read. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Here it is. Okay. All right, guys. Oh, Jesus, it's loud. 42 seconds. Let me pull it up here. This is
Are you gonna make me watch this?
yeah, I am. Well, I mean, you can leave at any time if you're a giant pussy.
You're giving me the perfection option. I have no real options.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You're of course free to go if you can't take it. You stare at the internet all day. You can't take this? Come on. No, here we go. It's 42 seconds. Let's do it real quick.
I didn't think this was going to be one of those conventions. Wait a minute. It's okay. I won't be gentle, but.
She found someone even bigger.
Oh, this is a cheerleader. I thought somebody would just come up behind her.
Like the principal does it. There can't be any change in there.
This is like a thing. Oh.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
really?
you do.
She didn't even hit it right.
And now I get the paddle carry.
This is preposterous.
Okay, so again, I have no problem with this stuff. I have no problem. I mean, besides the fact that I find many of them to be hideous or whatever, but I have no inherent issue with this. But these are the people who are saying that a guy hugging fans who are waiting in line for hours to see him is a sexual assaulter because he hugged a fan. And they're at a con that hosts people spanking in public for like clearly sexualized, even though jokingly sexualized, but clearly sexualized for a public audience. Like what? It's like none of these people thought through any of this. Sorry, and I'm sorry that all the bleach in your house is now gone. You've either drank it or poured it into your eyeballs, but that's how it goes. Okay, DNA Crows says, can you plug the DNA Crows YouTube channel? Two brothers with opposing views. Thanks for shilling us, Daddy Law. Yeah, check out DNA Crows on YouTube. I don't know. Maybe their stuff's pretty good. Give it a look-see. If you like it, subscribe. Ichisinko says it's pronounced Omai e wa mo shinderu. Thank you. Forever229 says
Japanese lesson for the day.
Yeah. Forever229 says, how dare you stop when I verbally told you I wasn't interested in late night activities. Tank Theta says, Nick, I worry about doomers wanting to commit violence against progressives. I don't want that. I want to see liberty again. So why don't we have a solid pushback via law and massive social pressure? Law part because it's expensive. Massive social pressure, it'll get there. Just remember that the left can't meme, but the right can't organize. You know, the right has to catch up on that front. Nova Zero says, wait, Nick, did you say that Vic makes people a fortune when he comes? Obviously, no one would accuse him of having LUV with them. I get it. The Young E42 says, it's almost like a con, including as a guest a popular voice actor who's both kind and generous to his fans is a good business decision. Yep. Someone retracted their statement, so I don't know what it was. Asphyxiation says, Null is the overlord of Utah. Also, I didn't lie.
Of Utah?
Richard Wetfuss says, you be drinking wine only in your Bible streams? Yeah, there you go, only wine. And then Miles Tails Power Fan 9 says, if it helps everyone, imagine Kick Vic as pod people from Invasion of the Body Snatchers. They see a skeptic and do their creepy shriek call. Rick Nikita says, redneck. Yana says, did Null ever smoke? Lungs sound wrecked.
Oh, I saw that. No, I'm just the weirdest sounded person in the entire world. I have no idea why my voice, like I saw somebody say like I can't stand this guy's voice like immediately after I started talking. And I get that a lot. I think I've like grown in on people like some kind of infection and they can stand me now. But No, I just have a weird voice. I've never smoked in my life.
There you go. And then Talbot Link says, Minions, Spank Video, go. Actually, I found it on my own, even though I hate it. And finally, TLJ Screwjob says, what if that's their big ace in the hole? Vic slept with all these over the age of 18 people when he was in a relationship. Even his ex said in the IO9 and Supergirl DMs that she had no idea until a few months ago after they broke up. TLJ Screwjob says, about the sleeping with women thing, I personally don't care. It's not like Cole Phelps in LA Noire who slept with a suspect in a case. Like you said earlier, it happens all the time with other VAs as well. By that logic, all of them should be fired. Yeah, I think, we don't. Just stop going after people's jobs. I think that's the main thing. But anyways, okay, let's wrap this stream up. It's late. You've been around for a long time. Was there anything you wanted to plug or tell people to go see, Mr. Null?
Well, I have my Mad at the Internet thing, which is madattheinternet.com, which is part of New Project 2, which is Dick Masterson's thing for like a Patreon alternative. And I coordinate in my underground bunker at that website. I coordinate my streams, which so far for the last few weeks have just been like recaps of the week, because I ran out of low hanging fruit, people that I'm just excited to rip on because they're so easy and fun to show off. So but people like that, so it's cool.
Well, there you go. Check out Mad at the Internet. Is it .com, right?
Yes.
Okay, madattheinternet.com, kiwifarms.net. Obviously, you can follow him if you can cite Bible verses on Twitter.
It's Leviticus 19_18. You should know this by now.
I don't even know what that verse is. What is that verse?
It is about not betraying your brother.
There you go. There you go. And Yana says, I love your voice. That's you. It's the laugh, and that's smoky. And finally, Miss Meadowkitty says, if I had to choose to spend a day with Renfamous or Monica Rial, I would choose to put a revolver in my mouth and redecorate the Minecraft wall behind me. No one important says, hey, Monica, can we say hypocrite? I think you can. I don't know if she can do that. I'm not going to assert that. I don't have evidence for that.
You have to get a deposition. See if you can say it.
Exactly. Are you able to say hypocrite? All right, man. Well, let's wrap this thing up. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with us, and I will announce the show topic tomorrow night. There's a bunch to cover over the next couple days. We should have some good shows. So, thanks for hanging, and you guys have a good evening. Peace.
Take it easy.